The words behind this, Cloud Dance said very sincerely, really what she said is the truth. But her words, in other people's ears, are like complete jokes. All of you here are not serious at all. Except Nanganji. You girl, stop fooling around. Lu Zi's eyes flashed helplessly, just want to let her stop. But this is a voice like a breeze coming from a distance. Let her take the place. Hearing the voice, Lu Zi and his tutors were stunned. What does the dean mean, let Yunwu replace Nalangsan? Although Lu Zi and the tutors felt that it was not right, the dean spoke, so they could not object. Not surprisingly, Cloud Dance takes the place of Dragon. Many students are dissatisfied with this, but none of them dare to protest. Because, in front of the fist, who dares to say what? However, some unexpected is that Yunwu thought that when he came to the stage, at least he had to loosen his muscles and bones. But I never thought of it. As soon as she came on stage, Chen Lu gave up with a black face. Just admit defeat. But behind of Cloud Dance almost don't say to start. This even person's face all don't see, all one by one admit defeat, announced the 6th round she won. This is definitely the first time in history that we won the game without a shot. However, it was also the most difficult competition for the 6th round students. Because, just the 6th round of participants, are the last selection contest, almost all of them are the losers of Cloud Dance. Those who have seen her strange power will never dare to meet her again in a short time. It's good to say that they are cowards. Anyway, they can't beat her. That Miss Yunjia is so weird and terrible. Watching the Cloud Dance depress down from the challenge arena, the deep eyes under the black sand flashed a smile. That's right. Half a quarter of an hour didn't use it. It was a big win. The hoarse voice was not hidden. This makes the students who hear the sound of dragons evil look at the dragons evil one by one. A waste of women. However, for those eyes, the dragon is like enjoying. In the Cloud Dance into, he reached out to pull her to sit beside, secretly upstairs her small waist. You seem to enjoy the look around you. Cloud Dance slightly squinted at the man around. Long Qingxia gave out a deep laugh and said in a low, evil voice, because the soft rice I eat is yours, and I like it. Smell the Cloud Dance of speech, the corner of the mouth draws. This man who's cheap again. The next competition in the eyes of others may be wonderful, but Cloud Dance is a little boring. Zhou Feiyu won the 7th game in the 9th. Originally thought, nothing to see, can only wait for tomorrow's finals. Let Cloud Dance some accident is, the 10th, appeared a name of the competition, let a person very surprised. Shengguan. Yes, when you see the familiar figure of Shengguan, Yunwu can't help feeling depressed. Why is he here? I thought it was impossible to see each other since the last separation. Now why are they all gathered in this college? However, it seems no surprise to see the dragon's evil. Yunwu naturally guessed that this man had known for a long time. Although Shangguan's strength is not very strong, his hidden ability can be seen in Yunwu. Out of the competition, it is impossible to win the students of this foreign college. In Game 10, Shangguan won. 10 games, 10 wins. Tomorrow's last day is to select from these 10 players. As for the quota, everyone thinks it is 1 or 2. Therefore, it is estimated that tomorrow's competition will be very exciting. However, when tomorrow's coming, everyone thought it would be a wonderful game, but fell a big empty. The next day, on the challenge arena, 10 people stand in circles. The rules of today's competition are very simple. No matter what means and abilities you use, the 5 people who finally stand in the challenge arena will become students of inner college. See that tutor words fall. All the students around were in a daze, including several people in the challenge arena. Does that mean group fighting? However, what excites the hearts of several people in the challenge arena is that there are 5 places in the college. So they have a half chance. What a pity. It's a big game with no big difference at all. I don't know whether it was deliberately arranged by the college, or it was really the competition mode specially set by the college this year. I don't know what to do. The group fight almost ended in a quarter of an hour. Finally, Yunwu, Nanganji, Zhou Feiyu, Shangguan and Lu Bai are standing in the challenge arena. Compared with the other 5 people who attacked the ground, they haven't fully responded. Selection competition, only the end. It's a good beginning, but it's a bit of a joke at the end. If the cloud dance can't be seen in the back, it's absolutely fake. I'm afraid that the college has arranged this mode for a long time, just to know that Zhou Feiyu and others went to the inner college. Why on earth? Does this need a reason after all? But Yunwoo couldn't understand why. Is it for the 3 Kingdoms competition in the near future? But if it's just for the 3 Kingdoms competition, there's no need to make an exception to recruit Nangongyi. I don't understand. I really don't understand, Yunwoo. I'm too lazy to think about it at last. At the end of the competition, her task is naturally to send them to the inner college. For people really deserve to fight for the qualification. The news that Long Shitzi entered the inner college by eating soft food soon spread all over the outer college. Even began to spread the college and spread to all countries. Inner college. It's been days since the competition. Each of the 5 students has their own class arrangement. Yunwoo naturally doesn't stick to that dragon. She has her own arrangement. However, many times things backfire. At this time, in a quiet corner, 2 voices came out. Be honest with me. A cold, sullen voice sounded like a mosquito. Hiss, you're acting like a husband. There's no guarantee that you'll be brought to justice. When Yunwoo heard this, his face turned black and he didn't dare to move. She just wanted to come to the Tulong Pavilion in the dead of night to see what had so great spiritual power, but she didn't want to be stuck by this man and threatened on the way. Yunwoo had to take him with him. However, this man's cheap mouth is getting worse and worse, and he has to go all the way, which leads to the guards of Tulong Pavilion. Because I was not familiar with the terrain, I only saw this cabinet in a hurry, so I hid behind it. Who knows, when she saw that there was an inner wall behind the cabinet, her heart collapsed. Just when she refused to hide in the space where the person standing would touch her nose, Long Qingxia pushed her in her reaction. She had already sat on his lap. She was angry, she was ashamed, she scolded in her heart, but she didn't dare to say it, and she didn't dare to solve it by force. She clearly felt that as long as she had a little movement, the smell of burning and clear hot neck could not help shaking. She felt that this was the so-called difficulty in riding a tiger. Even if these are her fault, she tolerated, Yunwoo convinced herself in her heart. But that hand never stopped on her chest, moving back and forth, while the other one hugged her waist. The corners of her mouth were tight, and there was a trace of anger in her eyes. Even the guards seemed to feel it. With a stiff back, she looked around warily. But Long Qingxia completely ignored her anger. The corner of her mouth was full of evil smile. His hot breath lingered in her ears. A burst of numbness flashed by, and her body was stiff. He seemed very satisfied with her performance, attached to her ear. My woman is really not a stone. Cloud Dance angrily looked back and glared at him. His lips collided, as if a touch of electric current had struck him. His 4 eyes were opposite. He was stunned or trembling. It was the surging water and the burning flame. Does looking at me like this mean that you want to be husband as much as husband wants you? Dragon Qingxia looks at Cloud Dance pure stupefied eyes. Evil spirit a smile. Looking at her like that, he would like to squeeze her into the flesh and blood, and merge with him. A heat burst in his abdomen, barely able to control. He is not allowed to be here at this time. When he stepped on the sky, she would be his woman. Cloud Dance hears her words, move Mao Guang away for a moment, then stare at him again. Where are you looking? He calmed the yearning in his eyes and the trembling heart in his heart. His eyes stayed on her chest, and the heat seemed to burn her skin, which made her angry. Dragon Qing evil, but don't think of Yang Lip a smile. You whole body up and down for husband where haven't seen? Why don't you call it shameless? I only want to be shameless for my husband. The Cloud Dances the Mao light to pass as silk helpless. Meet him, if she comes to this strange world continent's only failure, always calm like her, often meet him is to defeat the end. She recovered her original reason in her eyes. She can't sink into his arms and forget her original way. When she steps on the blue clouds, she will be his wife. What are you doing? Legs numb, you press me up a bit. All right. Without waiting for Long Qingxia to speak, Yunwoo spread his legs and sat on his legs. Bang! With a loud noise, the desk fell to the ground. After the moon and misty dust, the guard looked at the two people who appeared behind the desk and was surprised that they didn't respond for a moment. After a long time. What are you doing? The cha breeze points to ambiguous two people, the boar eye is tongue-tied. The cloud dances, and the forehead is covered with black lines. What do you mean? What are you doing? Shouldn't he ask who you are and why you're here? Cloud Dance looks back and stares at Long Qingxie. If it wasn't for his sudden shock, would they be exposed? When she looked back at him for a moment, she found out what they were doing now. She sat on his thigh with her legs spread apart, and he was looking at her with his hands around her waist. No wonder Cha Feng would ask, "What are you doing?" The Cloud Dance leaps up in the sky, and in a moment, it flashes to the place far away from the dragon. She raises her eyes and looks at the break wind, but her eyes dodge. But Long Qingxie stood up and arranged his clothes. His slender fingers flicked the white dust. A pair of dangerous and evil eyes glanced at the break wind. "Can't you see what we're doing?" Cha Feng was stunned, then cleared his throat and said, "How did you get in here? Don't you know that outsiders are not allowed here? For hundreds of years, except for those who hold dragon slaughtering decrees, it is impossible for other people to enter the dragon slaughtering pavilion just like ordinary people. There are only 2 dragon slaughtering decrees. One is in the hands of the elder and the other is in the hands of the child adopted by the elder. How did they get in?" A trace of disbelief passed through the beautiful eyes of the break wind. "Oh, I don't see any sign that outsiders are not allowed in." The sword eyebrow of Dragon Qingxie was raised, which seemed to be confused and provocative. "You're not from inner college?" Cha Feng looks at two people. Mao Guang is vigilant. "Don't you see what I'm wearing?" Yunwoo stood up and pointed to his school uniform. Cha Feng frowned slightly and looked at them suspiciously. "Since you are a student of inner college, how can you not know that it is forbidden to enter here?" "It doesn't matter if you know. It's here anyway." Dragon Qing evil cold Piao. Cha Feng one eye, raised the pace to Cloud Dance to walk past. In the dusky Tulong Pavilion, they can't see each other's faces clearly. It's so quiet that they feel numb. Their conversation is like a magic barrier, and the sound of each other's breathing can be heard clearly when they are quiet again. Suddenly, Yunwoo felt the spirit force approaching again, and a strange force was surging in her body, which seemed to be called by the spirit force. No, it's the power in her body calling the spirit power in Tulong Pavilion. Cloud Dance feels the spiritual power, and a little doubt passes at the bottom of her eyes. The spiritual power seems to float freely, swaying back and forth without rules, and seems to be abandoned. In an instant, she could be sure that this spiritual power must be released by something here. The spiritual power could not find a place to depend on, so she wanted to belong to her. Does she have any containers that it can attach to? Cloud Dance's eyes flashed a little surprised. She can feel this power around her. At the moment of the emergence of the spirit power, the eyes of Dragon Qingxie were no longer loose just now, but like a dark black gem, emitting a dangerous and provocative light. "Get out quickly, I cannot pursue this matter." Break wind looking at two people, Mao light a cold, point to the door to say. Tulong Pavilion is located in a remote place. There is an isolation hood within 5 meters outside the pavilion. The isolation hood is jointly set up by the 4 elders. No one can open the isolation hood except the 4 elders and the Order of Tulong. But these 2 are coming in. What's more, he can't feel their spiritual power, which shows that their martial arts are superior to him, or even better than the 4 elders. It's rare to see such a talkative guard. Cloud Dance willow eyebrow a yang, the corner of the mouth yang a meaningless smile. Then he said, "In view of your kindness, I'd better give you a step down. Let's run after you, let's deal with it, or let's deal with it if we can't." The break breeze hears his words, eyebrow a cold. This is to say he dereliction of duty? Then don't blame me for being rude. Cha Feng looks at the Cloud Dance, takes out a yellow Dao Fu-like bell from his arms and shakes it. Ding-ling, ding-ling, ding-ling. A sharp bell rang from the mezzanine room in Tulong Pavilion. Cloud Dance slightly squints eyes. watching the bell sound spread around, full of beautiful light lingering more and more far away. It's a 1,000-mile clock. Like a bell, it is actually a clock that can sound thousands of miles. What's next? Long Qingxia takes back the cold eyes on the bell in Chafeng's hand and looks back at the cloud dance way. When he saw the bell, he knew that big trouble was coming, but there was not a breath of worry in his eyes. On the contrary, he was calm and lazy. Cloud Dance, willow eyebrow down, not happy to stare at him, also asked her how to do. If he didn't take him, he would go to Zhou Feiyu to cry and threaten her. Would this accident happen? No matter how shocking his words are, there's nothing that can't be done with this man's thick skin. In order to prevent him from breaking his integrity to pieces, she compromised, but the consequences of compromise are even more difficult for her to accept. Those who know the truth will go out on their own. I won this chase. Break Breeze, corner of mouth a lie, ruthless arrogant sneer. Cloud Dance glanced at him and felt that a group of people were coming closer and closer to the Tulong Pavilion. Suddenly, her eyes narrowed, eyes with a play abuse of looking at the break wind. I bet, generally win at the last moment, so it shows a sense of achievement. As soon as her voice fell, her figure moved towards the break wind like a whirlwind. The break wind almost didn't even move, so she felt a touch of cold on her neck. A sword, a silver cold sword, was standing around his neck. Break wind back a stiff, looking at her speed for a moment can't speak, that speed is like lightning general, can see also just a moment of shadow. After a long time, he eased down, because there was still a trace of shaking in his surprised eyes. He glanced at the cloud dancing eyes, shocked and indifferent. If you want to kill me, you have to cut me casually. Now kill me, maybe you can escape. Hearing his words, Yunwu dropped her eyes with a smile, and a trace of appreciation passed at the bottom of her eyes. So you're dying? At least they say it's better to live than to die. Dragon Qing, evil mouth a yang, languidly looking at two people, don't seem to intend to move. By her side, he is willing to be a little white face who eats and sleeps with her. Everyone says that a man is protected by a woman and wants to find a way to hide, but he seems to want everyone to know that he is protected by her. In his eyes, being protected by her is a matter of great pride and pride. Outside the Tulong Pavilion, the rapid footsteps came more than 30 meters away. Zafeng closed his eyes slightly, as if waiting for Yunwu to judge him. With the disappearance of a cold light, Chafeng suddenly opened his eyes and found that the sword on his neck had disappeared. His eyes were slightly stunned and looked at Yunwu. Cloud Dance, but just an indifferent glance at him. No fun. She prefers to fight for life with the god of death, struggle to survive in the blood, and reincarnate in the hell. And it seems that there is some coincidence, but he still lacks a little. There was a ray of light hidden in the bottom of her eyes. Long Qingxia found a deep smile. Chafeng didn't find it, but touched the surface of her eyes. Why don't you kill me? He looked at her with a sense of shame in his heart. Don't you know what I mean? You don't deserve me to kill you. The corner of her mouth coldly raised, looked back and forgot the evil look of the dragon, and said with a smile, should we run? Long Qingxia pulls her into her arms, and the charm lingers in her ears. I really treat you differently. Yunwu raised her eyes slightly and looked directly at him. There was a trace of playfulness in the corner of her eyes. Is that right? Then polish your eyes and have a good look. Long Qingxia raised her eyebrows and nodded, branded a kiss on her lips, circled her waist, and disappeared in the room with her helpless sigh. Chafeng watched the shadow passing in front of him. The next second, he was the only one left in the room and a touch of blind moonlight. There is a trace of anger and unbearable in that pair of beautiful and arrogant eyes, and the words of Cloud Dance still linger in his ears. It's boring, you don't deserve. Her words are like an endless cage, which makes his self-confidence and pride turn into unbearable and humiliating. Suddenly, he fell on his knees, clenched his fists, and his confused eyes reappeared. He made a decision he would never have made before. Outside the Tulong Pavilion, for elders, pharmacist elder, Zhou Feiyu and Nangong Yi, all came, followed by Yunwu and Longqing. Zhou Feiyu and Nangong Yi saw that they came over like love, and there was a change in their eyes. Zhou Feiyu's sharp eyes were staring at her. He had planned to leave the college for a while and let Wu Han pay attention to the movement of the Zhou dynasty. But I heard that someone broke into Tulong Pavilion and thought that she would appear here, so I immediately chased her. Otherwise, she showed up. With the Dragon 3 wearing black gauze. Why does she trust him so much? How can she rely on a waste material that is beyond recognition and in danger? In the night, the proud eyes glanced at the dragon, like peeping, more like naked looking. This gaze naturally can't escape the eyes of Nangong Yi and the two of them, but Long Qingxie stands behind Yunwu and lowers her head, playing with her green silk, just like an innocent child who only cares about playing. But under the black veil that they can't see, those evil eyes are like a bloodthirsty devil, especially the smile mark on his mouth, cruel and merciless. Nangong Yi also heard that someone broke into Tulong Pavilion. She came by to have a look and see if she needed any help. He's talking about her. He guessed that she was the one who broke into Tulong Pavilion. Just as several elders were about to enter the isolation hood, a loud bang came from the bombing of Tulong Pavilion. Everyone present was surprised, including the cloud dance and the dragon. Yunwu looks at the interstellar light from the incomplete crack on the top of Tulong Pavilion. Her eyes are shocked. As soon as the light appears, she feels the emergence of a force again, which seems to correspond with the light. The light is like frost, pure and cold, but you can feel a cold from a distance. Suddenly, her mind flashed a pair of eyes, a pair of ice color, not close to all feel cold eyes. Frost. Cloud Dance suddenly raises eyes. Long Qingxie felt her abnormality, and a trace of meditation passed through her evil eyes. Then he put up a finger behind her and wrote the word Guan on her back. Cloud Dance feel that official character's spine as stiff, indifferent eyes had a trace of surprise. Shangguan? How did he break into Tulong Pavilion? The four elders looked at the crack light on the top of the Tulong Pavilion. Their faces changed. They joined forces to open the isolation hood and hurried in. As soon as they stepped into the gate hall, they saw the wind break lying on the ground, pale as paper, with blood in the corner of their mouth. Pharmacist, look at him now. One of the elders yelled at the pharmacist, then turned his hand into a white shadow and disappeared like the wind. The other three elders catch up with him one after another and walk towards the interior of Tulong Pavilion. Yunwu naturally won't be left behind. She also wants to know why Shangguan came to Tulong Pavilion. Several people followed several elders into the interior. The interior is already in a mess, but it's not difficult to see that this mess was just caused by the sound of explosion. We can see the power. Nothing was lost except a book of heaven, said an elder, examining the interior. Cloud Dance glances at the elder, which sounds like good news, but I don't know what the elder's worry means. Lost the book of heaven? The elder nodded. Several other elders, including the pharmacist who just walked in, were stunned by the words, and then they looked like I was worried. Look here. It looks like the man left it on purpose. One of the elders found a note on the cabinet not far away. The elder opened the note, which said, "Wouldn't it be better for such a person to guard and directly open the door to welcome guests?" Yunwu raised her eyes slightly and happened to catch a glimpse of the words on the note. Suddenly, a trace of anger passed at the bottom of her eyes, and she retreated back to Longqingxi. Has been slender jade hand quietly fell on his waist, a force, she toward his skin smile meat does not smile grin. Only Dragon Qingxie slightly straightened his waist, his face under the black veil showed a trace of pain, but his eyes were extremely innocent. The cloud dances the Mao bottom to flash over a silk to observe to have no but, the handwriting on that note she knows, is Zhou Feiyu's. Does he think it's not big enough or is it boring? Actually, it involved Zhou Feiyu. If the four elders investigate the handwriting, they will certainly investigate Zhou Feiyu, and Zhou Feiyu will also suspect the object of planting him. And that object won't show up on both of them. As like as 2 peas in his eyes, 3 is just a waste material. He will not imitate his handwriting exactly the same as he does. But he won't think that Zhou Feiyu will doubt him? There was a trace of worry and doubt in Yunwu's eyes. He always felt that Zhou Feiyu had begun to doubt him. He couldn't have been unaware of it. How could he take the risk to play this hand? Suddenly, A trace of surprise passed by the bottom of her eyes. Did he want Zhou Feiyu to doubt him? Even investigating him? Cloud Dance raised eyes to see a dragon to pour evil. Under the black gauze, that pair of evil eyes inside of Light Jump seemed to explain the idea of her heart. Then the corner of her mouth seemed to be raised, and it seemed that he had already started. Find someone to investigate the handwriting of the college file and see whose it is. It's late. Let's go back and have a rest. The elder looked at them and said coldly. Yunwu nodded. Let's go first. Long Qingxia followed closely, followed by Zhou Feiyu and Nangong. At the moment when Yunwu stepped out of the room, she seemed to leave the elder to cast the spell against the left wall. She frowned slightly. Although she had left the Tulong Pavilion, her thoughts were still there. Is it an illusion? Or is that what she wants to see behind the wall? Thinking of this possibility, she couldn't restrain the excitement in her eyes. With the stars falling in the sky, the college on the top of the mountain is quiet and comfortable. Nangong-yi returns to his dormitory after watching Yunwu leave the dragon killing spot, while Zhou Feiyu follows them all the time. Seeing Yunwu nestle up to Dragon Qingxia, the anger in his eyes rises gradually. At this time, Long Qingxia seemed to deliberately pull Yunwu into his arms and hold it tightly, absorbing the fragrance of her hair. However, there was a satanic sneer on his mouth. The woman who followed me so blatantly didn't pay attention to me. How do you think I should let him have a snack? His voice is very low, with a trace of hot but not a word into the cloud ears. Look at the buttonholes, touch and chop your hands, and when you have a threat, wipe your life. The cloud dances. The eye bottom spreads a trace of pure light, the corner of the mouth spreads a touch of evil smile. Long Qingxia gave a low smile, then slapped her on the butt and said, "Don't challenge the bottom line of being jealous for your husband, it can't be touched." Yunwu looks at the white figure that has gone away gradually. Her pace is calm, her posture is cold and evil, and her heart is small. This is the man she likes. The corners of her mouth were slightly outlined and covered with a layer of haze. You are so willing to follow a powerless and useless person for a lifetime? Behind him came Zhou Feiyu's voice of indifference and anger. Cloud Dance turned around, the hazy corner of the mouth subsided, replaced by a ruthless smile. It's hard to say for a lifetime, it's a day with a day. He can't give you what you want. Zhou Feiyu strode up to Yunwu, roared, grabbed her shoulder, looked at her clear and pure eyes and said, "Follow me, I can give you everything you want." "Do you know what I want?" Yunwu looks at him with a sneer and reaches out his hand to knock off his shoulder. Sarcastic way. "Count up, I also can be regarded as sister-in-law's grief and indignation. You this to own future sister-in-law say such words. This is the legendary that body-domineering awe-inspiring 7 Wangye?" Zhou Feiyu looked at the hand that had been knocked down and heard her words. There was a chill in her sharp eyes. Sister-in-law? He is not qualified to be my brother. You will not be my sister-in-law. In this case, why not? Oh, it seems that you never regard him as a member of the Zhou dynasty. Cloud Dance mouth corner a cold, looking at his eyes sink a few minutes. You're wrong. He's just a piece of rubbish thrown by a neighboring country. Even if he is now the son of the Zhou dynasty, I'm not the king of the Zhou dynasty. Zhou Feiyu's awe-inspiring eyes look elsewhere, but Yunwu seems to vaguely see loneliness and pain in his eyes. The cloud dances the eye ground to flit over a doubt. Tiny me raised Mao son. What does he mean by that? What is not the king of Zhou dynasty? It's none of my business, isn't it? She knew a little about him, but she didn't have a deep thought. I know what you want. I can give you all that. Zhou Feiyu is staring at her, and the undeniable tone is mingled with his domineering and innate indifference. Tell me, what do I want? Cloud Dance mouth slightly a hook, holding our sneers. Power, power, and endless power. Zhou Feiyu looked at her eyes slightly changed look, thin lips a hook. It seems that 5 cold to his message is right, she wants these. The cloud dances the corner of the mouth cold to hook up, will the Mao bottom deep place of a wipe of abnormality to hide. The indifferent Mao son glances at him one eye. You say right, these I all need, but I most need of a thing you don't know. With her determination, she turned to leave, leaving the wipe free and easy. No one can stop what I want. If you don't want him to die, I'll give you time to think about it. Zhou Feiyu stares at her back. Her voice is calm, but her clenched fists betray him. He has been calculating, regardless of everything, just to take back everything that belongs to him. But that purple pupil woman unintentionally intruded into his life. Let his firm goal have a change. In the future, on the way forward, he also want a she. Since he is my husband, I will protect him. If someone hurts him, injures him and plans against him, I will kill him, cut him, torture him, and finally kill him alive. A voice as cold as On is scattered in the cold wind of the night. It's not very loud, but it's cold like an icehouse. The cold wind is like her. When Zhou Feiyu heard her words, he cackled directly, and a smile of fierce prison burst out slowly at the corner of his mouth. He believed that she could do what she said, but he had a heart that would never give up until she died. This woman he must. On the treetop not far away, a white figure loomed. Under the black veil, the corner of his mouth was perfectly outlined, shining like a star. The words of a woman were constantly replayed in his mind. He's my husband. He's under my protection. It's a good feeling. It's worth it even if you die. At the beginning of the new day, the college students are still busy practicing and want to be brilliant in the promotion competition. But there are also very few people who don't need, don't want, and don't care about cultivation. Just like Shangguan. Shangguan, dressed in a black robe, sat on the stool beside the garden. Looking at the cloud dance standing in front of him, he could not help laughing. You are asking me, I also say no, why don't you believe me? Am I such a liar? Shangguan frowned slightly, some helpless stall hands. In the early morning, Cloud Dance blocked him up here and asked him for 2 hours what he had done last night. His answer is, go to bed, eat midnight snack, go to the toilet. The last answer is sleepwalking. Did you do it? Cloud Dance raises willow eyebrow. One face expects of waiting for his reply. Shangguan looked at her eyes, and there was a trace of expectation. He couldn't help wondering whether he would go to Tulong Pavilion or not. What would she expect? After pondering for a moment, he finally acknowledged and nodded. What's wrong with me? Are you going to report me, Xiao Wu? Shangguan knew that he would not report her. Looking at the eager look in her eyes, he didn't want her to be disappointed. So no matter what the result was, he admitted it. Well done. Cloud Dance suddenly drinks, the color in the eyes is more bright, and then a butt to his side, but the corner of the mouth is raising a smile to look at him. Shangguan looked at the smile of thief and traitor in the corner of her mouth, and was frightened by her abnormal reaction. Don't look at me like that. Just say what you want. I can't stand it. Shangguan felt his 2 arms, and his eyes were full of fear. Then a terrible thought came to mind. If the woman used her hair to deal with a man, the man must be killed. Did you take away a book of heaven? The cloud dances inside the eyes to brush a silk to tangle, finally still can't help but say. Shangguan frowned slightly and looked at her with a strange look. She was excited for a long time, just for the sake of the broken book? Are you crazy or have a fever? Shangguan looked at her suspiciously and touched her forehead with one hand. It seemed strange and he said to himself, no fever. Cloud Dance white he one eye, a slap his hand in his forehead pulled down, continued to ask, do you mind showing me? Suddenly, Shangguan stood up, and the color in his eyes gradually darkened. Yunwu looked at him and narrowed his eyes. Is it because of the Book of Heaven that he sneaked into Tulong Pavilion? What was the secret in the book that day? She was more curious. Suddenly, Shangguan turned around and left. Then he took out a book from his arms and threw it behind him. Yu said, a broken book is a waste of space. Yunwu perfectly accepted the book, and the 2 natural and vigorous characters on the cover shocked her. Since the Book of Heaven, you must know the secret that only genius knows? She raised her eyebrows slightly, and an evil smile came to her eyes. Shangguan looks back at Yunwu, looks at the excitement in her eyes, and turns her mouth. When he learned that someone had sneaked into Tulong Pavilion, he didn't know why he felt that she was the only one who could stir up such a thing, so he planned to save her. But after he went, he found that he had run away. In order not to go for nothing, he just destroyed something and took something by the way. Only she can solve the secret in the Book of Heaven, so he gave the book to her. Whether she can find it or not depends on her own. Yunwoo just glanced at the Book of Heaven, and then glanced around. He didn't find anyone who shouldn't have, so he put it into his arms. This kind of shameful thing should be studied in the dead of night. Cloud dance. Suddenly, a strong and hoarse voice rang from behind the cloud dance. Yunwoo looks back and sees that the elder pharmacist is coming all the way to her. After seeing that he was the pharmacist elder, the cloud danced and the willow eyebrows were hooked, and a trace of doubt flashed at the bottom of his eyes. "What's the matter, elder?" "Elder, let me tell you, let you go to the forest inside the college." The elder pharmacist is all dressed in plain clothes. He has a feeling of immortality. Is there a forest inside the college? The cloud dances the Mao light ami, but she has never heard of. The pharmacist elder said with a smile, "Generally, the forest inside the college is not allowed to enter. But recently, there are many strange things in the forest, so the elder sent you to have a look. Why don't you go in person?" The cloud dances, and a trace of doubt passes through the bottom of my eyes. Since it is not allowed to enter, there is a reason for it. Why not go there by yourself? The pharmacist elder's face changed slightly when he heard this, and the smile in his eyes also froze a little. "We people in the college can't enter the forest. I'll explain to you later. You should go to see what happened first. The forest is very dangerous. Everything is unknown. Don't act rashly." The cloud dance eyes flow light 100 turn, but still nod. The elders in the forest of the inner college can't get in. There must be some articles in it. Listen to the elder pharmacist. They don't know what strange monsters are in the forest, but they can be sure that there must be some grudges between them and the college. Is that why the elders sent some of them? Well, there are still days to go before the promotion contest. It's just a good time to practice hand by hand, but the things in the Book of Heaven and the dragon slaughtering pavilion can only be studied again. After the pharmacist elder leaves, Yunwoo goes back to the dormitory. On the way, she meets Nangonji, who drinks tea alone. He was dressed in white, and his tea drinking was elegant and leisurely. He was like a god who did not eat fireworks from the sky. There was not a trace of vulgarity in his behavior, especially the white dosha on his head, which added a touch of refined feeling to him. Just at the moment when Yunwoo stopped, his eyes also fell on her. The four eyes met. Yunwoo strangely understood his meaning and walked towards him. "Why, isn't it boring to taste tea alone?" Cloud Dance walks to him opposite, smile a corner of the mouth to hook to say, "Isn't that you're here?" Nangong Iran looks at her with a smile, and the look of the moment is beautiful. Cloud Dance sits down with a smile in the corner of her mouth. Nangong selects a cup of tea for her and says very casually, "It's better not to touch the thing in Tulong Pavilion. If you are careless, you will feel the pain of penetrating the heart." Yunwoo's fingers holding the teacup were stiff, and her eyes were surprised. Then she was relieved to smile. How could she hide it from him? "Do you know what's in there?" Cloud Dance Willow Eyebrow a pick, ask. Nangong Ijin took a sip of tea, shook his head and said gently, "I don't know, but when you are close to that thing, I can feel your pain, the future." A future let Cloud Dance slightly ning eyebrow. She looked at the South Palace Mao bottom complex doubt. "Is it?" After a long time, she slowly vomited out, and the beauty between her eyebrows and eyes was unprecedented, with a brilliant smile in her mouth. "If so, I would be more interested." Nangong smiles quietly and seems to guess that she will say so. It's just a topic of conversation to tell her. In that case, it's nothing. Although the pain makes you feel painful, it's only temporary, no harm. His elegant and cool voice rang out again, looking at Cloud Dance's eyes and pondering calmly. Temporary? Cloud Dance sketched the smile is not reduced, that a smile languid natural and unrestrained. This matter needs to let go. The forest of the college appeared abnormal. The elder let us go to have a look. Are you interested? The cloud dances the Mao light to sweep, seem to ask of looking at him. He is like a group to float to scatter in the mid-air and can't reach a fog general, cool and quiet, with the world like indifference. She's not sure if he's going to take part in this adventure of the unknown. Naturally. The corner of Nangong Yi's mouth is slightly raised, and the indifferent eyes have a trace of smile. Cloud Dance Chumua's smile, for his participation is very happy. Stand up to drink the cup of tea, she said with a smile. See you later. Nangong Yi nodded and watched her leave. Looking at the graceful figure in the wind, a smile appeared in her clear eyes. On the avenue, there are lots of interesting things and a touch of refreshing fragrance. Ah! Suddenly, the cry of Cloud Dance carried through the whole flower garden. A white shadow, like a fairy, passed by. Before she thought about it, she hugged her waist and took her all the way to her dormitory. With the spread of her startled voice, Nangong Yi and Zhou Feiyu, who are gradually approaching here, are stunned. Nangong Yi just dropped his eyes with a smile, and the drooping eyes passed by a trace of abnormality, which was also fleeting. And Zhou Feiyu's figure is like the wind. He comes to the place where the clouds disappear in an instant. He looks around with a trace of anxiety and impulse in his sharp eyes. Rational as Nangong, he knew that no one in the college had the ability to make her exclaim. Flustered as Zhou Feiyu, he has made bad plans because he is anxious and has no reason, but forgets who can be her opponent besides them in the college. In front of the dormitory door, the dim shadow in front of my eyes finally turned into reality. Cloud Dance looked at the evil such as the devil's culprit, in addition to sullen, more helpless. Can it appear in the way that normal people appear? Cloud Dance lifted Mao to sweep one-eye dragon to poor evil, fortunately her heart preference, otherwise must be scared out heart disease. If he uses enough speed, I'm afraid she won't have time to defend, let alone when she is completely wandering. Ignoring the long Qing evil's ambiguous and evil eyes, she looked down at the slender and restless hand at her waist, with a trace of light passing by the bottom of her eyes. With a low murmur, the dragon bent down slowly. His sword eyebrows wrinkled tightly, his face was flushed, and the naked pain appeared in his evil eyes. After a long time, he looked at the Cloud Dance sitting at the door with a smile on his face. Do you want us to die? He looked at the girl sitting at the door, the pain and blame in his eyes, the helplessness in the bottom of his eyes. Does this woman actually start with him, and do not think about her future? Yunwu raised her eyebrows slightly with a simple and harmless hook at the corner of her mouth, but she could see the happiness in the bottom of her eyes at a glance. You can't do that, and I won't feel ashamed. Long Qingxia finally eased over and sat down beside Yunwu, hiding her anger because she said that you can't do it. She attached herself to her ear with a coquettish and evil face in blue. Do you know how to be a girl when people say a man can't do it? What will that man do next? His low alcohol and magnetic voice lingered in her ears, especially his lips filled with the numbness of her ears, which made her confused. Cloud Dance rare head blank, some silly into his trap, along with his words asked, What? I'll let you see if he can do it, of course. The ambiguous and evil voice of the dragon fell into her ears again. Suddenly she felt a strong force to lift her up in the air, before she could react. She was on his lap. Lips already covered. He was full of aggression and hegemony, kissing her. It seemed that the palpitation which had been hidden in his heart for a long time broke out in an instant. His desire, forbearance and struggle were all forgotten at the moment. When she reacted, she closed her eyes slightly, circled his neck, and accepted his overbearing aggression. When a warm spring breeze strikes, their clothes move with the wind, and their hair dances to each other's bodies, which seems to stir them up and forget themselves. Not far away, he looked at them with a look of anger. Suddenly he turned and left. The dark anger at the bottom of his eyes was with a trace of ferocity. That white back lonely, desolate but still arrogant domineering. When Yunwu was about to suffocate, Long Qingxia let her go and looked at her with charming eyes. His breath was a little hasty. Do you still think it's not good to be a husband? His huge palm fell on her back, and one hand touched her tenderness uneasily. In his calm, evil and indifferent eyes, he was eager, and he was a child's expectation when he wanted his favorite gift. She stroked his evil and perfect face. Her eyes were dense, and the corners of her mouth outlined a smile full of love. Then she leaned forward and gave him a kiss on the lips. She gazed at the most real him and said, "Anytime you want to." She was the first man he fell in love with. Who would not give her to the man he fell in love with? Maybe not in a hurry, because their respective time is not yet. But if she falls in love with someone, she can't help worrying. If one day they have to, will she regret that she didn't give it to him earlier? You look like you are trampling at will. How can you not love me? Dragon Ching evil smell her words, the Mao light is joyful, embrace her in the bosom, deep sigh. Suddenly she shot in an instant and gave him a dull fist in the chest. When the strength of his hand slightly relaxed, he broke away from his arms. It's overdue. Yunwoo stood up, looked down at him, and instantly recovered his indifference. There is still some pain on the lip, but it is the most real happiness. When the dragon's evil eye light flits over the happiness in the bottom of her eyes, the evil spirit smiles. Then he glanced down at her empty arms and looked at her innocently. Can't you be good to your husband? At least you are satisfied with the service just now, aren't you? Cloud Dance glanced at him and said lazily, the free service to your door should not be in vain. If you want it, it's also in vain. Otherwise, you still want to ask for tips? Long Qingxie immediately nodded, pursed his lips to her, and said vaguely, ask for a tip. The cloud danced to puff to laugh to make a voice. A slap clapped on the lip pedal that he toots to rise. Want how many times? Long Qingxie was innocent again. Touching the painful lip, he threw a look at her like a resentful wife. I just kiss so hard, it hurts to death. Cloud Dance. He kisses hard. Is that her fault? She didn't know who was to blame for the burning pain on her lips. Shameless. She can only use these two words to refute the shameless and rogue he let her have no description. The elders asked us to go to the college forest. They said there was something unusual. Cloud Dance, that's why I want to get down to business. She was going to ask him to tell him about it, but he was so I almost forgot. Dragon Ching evil smell speech stand up, slightly pick eyebrow, a pair of eyes in pan with ponder. What are you thinking? Yunwoo looked at him and asked. Thinking about someone who should have been there but didn't show up. Dragon Ching evil spirit smile, slightly refers to. Cloud Dance slightly frown, the eye bottom passes a silk to ponder. Lu Bai. I haven't seen him since I entered the inner college after the selection contest. And the abnormality of the forest is probably only after the selection competition. The cloud dances, the eyes are clear and cold, thinking about all kinds of possibilities. It seems that this forest is unusual, and it must be unusual behind it. No harm, just go and have a look. Long Qingxie looked at her thoughtful expression and drew a curve from the corner of her mouth. He pulled her away from the dormitory. But he turned his back to the corner of his mouth after the cloud dance, but the radiant became a little dark and cold. Long Qingxie Yunwoo and Nangong Yi follow the elder pharmacist to the entrance of the forest. It's a wall of magma that looks like mercury and slurry. There is a cool light around the wall, they can feel the huge energy from the wall, and the feeling of rejection and rebound is within reach. This wall has been enchanted all around the forest, and people inside the college are forbidden here. One of the elders who brought them looked at the border, and his eyes seemed to fall into the things that happened many years ago. Why don't you let the insiders in? Is there anything in it? Cloud Dance micro frown, some don't understand the cause and result of this matter. It's all over. Don't mention it anymore. Just drop your blood on the magma wall and you can go in. The elder pharmacist pointed to the magma, with a worried look. At this time, Zhou Feiyu came slowly, every step with a natural awe inspiring and arrogant, as steady as a rock, as dazzling as a torch, looking at the elder fiercely and domineering, more people, more strength. Cloud Dance glanced at him, a trace of doubt and displeasure passed at the bottom of his heart. How did he come? When he comes, it means that Long Qingxie is weak. She intended to let Long Qingxie fight alone. Now Long Qingxie can only follow her and be her little man. The pharmacist elder nodded. Let's go together. If there's any obstruction, you can't withdraw it. Don't rush to do it. Obstruction? Is there anyone else in there? Or who else lives here? The cloud dances, the eyebrows are raised, and the mood is suffused at the bottom of the eyes, which seems to be very interesting. Under the advice of the pharmacist elder, he took out a dagger and cut his finger, dripping the blood on the magma wall. All of a sudden, 4 drops of blood gradually spread, and the whole mercury color magma wall has become blood red. With the magma wall bulging up and down, the frequency is faster and faster, and the magma wall is ferocious and vomit. Suddenly, the magma wall seemed to disappear, and the 4 were surprised. A closer look did not disappear, but has become a completely transparent wall. The 4 look completely reflected on the wall. After you go in, walk in the southernmost direction. When you see a green python cave, you will hide it. When wild animals pass by, the cave will open. Just see if the people on the cross are still in the cave. Remember not to rush. Without waiting for the pharmacist elder to finish speaking, the group waved to the elder and walked into the magma wall. The pharmacist elder felt his long beard, and there was some helplessness and worry in his fierce eyes. I don't know if it's right or wrong to let them in. The voice of the elder came into the ears of the elder pharmacist. It's mindfulness. I think it's better to tell them what's going on inside, so that they can be on guard. The pharmacist elder looked at the wall of magma which was restored to mercury shape again, and knew that it was too late to say anything. With the character of Cloud dancing, if you tell her, she will definitely go to have a look, and the people behind her will also be killed because of him. If you don't tell them, they may not be able to meet. Besides, with their strength, they may not be the opponent of that person. So be relieved. The elder pharmacist sighed and turned to leave. Now he can only walk step by step. I hope they don't meet that person. Doubts flashed in those sharp and shrewd eyes. Every night in the forest these days, there was the scream of wild animals tearing and the sound of bombing somehow. Several elders were afraid that the man inside was trying to get rid of the prison, or someone broke in to help him get rid of the prison. If he comes out, the Shenhuang Samurai Academy will face an unprecedented disaster, but they are still unable to enter the border, so they can only find a few of their strongest students to explore. I hope those children can come back safely and solve this matter smoothly. The 4 of them walked into the forest and looked up at the top, looking slightly surprised. The whole forest is like a magical scene, dark purple and sky blue meet in the air, rendering the whole forest, just like a rendering of ink painting. And the breath in the whole forest is extremely oppressive and suffocating. I don't know if it's because of the rendering in the sky and the mysterious smell of the dark god in the forest. At this time, the dragon tornado in my mind suddenly sent a message: Magic Feather Forest, the sky is like a colored black gem, with blue and cold light. It is the same all the year round, there is no day and night, only a gloomy sense of oppression and suffocation. Girl, it's dark and powerful here. You should be careful. Bai Lao's voice sounded with a slight warning. Yunwu looks at the dark and dazzling blue sky, a touch of clear across his eyes. The reason why the sky looks like this color is that the dark spiritual power here is too heavy, accumulated over time. What is the source of this dark power? The dark smell in the forest is probably related to the fact that people in Inner College are cursed not to enter the forest. Nangong-yi looks at the half-empty eyes, cool and elegant, and a sound like spring water is clear and warm reverberates in the woods. It's not difficult to solve it. Find the green python cave that the elder said and find out the man. Zhou Feiyu looks at the cloud dance, arrogant eyes seem to have a trace of provocation toward her. Only Shangguan looked at the dark blue sky, his eyebrows frowned, slightly pursed the corners of his mouth, and the bottom of his eyes was a little dark. Since entering the woods to see this strange situation, 4 men have surrounded Yunwu. Long Qingxie has been following her on the left, Zhou Feiyu on the right, Shangguan and Ningangji have been following her. Cloud Dance looks at the array, with a black line on her forehead. Is she the kind of woman who needs protection? If you really meet what she needs, who is in a hurry with her? The 4 walked cautiously to the south, but they got into trouble at a fork. There are 2 ways. How can we go? Cloud Dance lifted Mao to see a Long Qing evil, inquired away. As long as I'm with you for my husband, whatever else. Long Qingxie smiles, but he can't see clearly and deeply. The smell of the forest made him feel a little bit of pressure. Cloud Dance helplessly glanced at him, turned to look at Zhou Feiyu, Nangong Yi and Shangguan. Which way are you going? This one. Nangong Yi gently raises his chin toward the left fork. He felt that the road on the left was full of blood, probably because he didn't have a trace of blood, so he was so sensitive to blood. Yunwu nodded, looked back at Zhou Feiyu and Shangguan. What about you? I'll take this one too. Shangguan refers to the same fork road as Nangong Yi. Then I'll be with you. Zhou Feiyu looks at the Cloud Dance and talks with irrefutable arrogance. Cloud Dance looked at him one eye, the eye ground flits a silk not to bear, then looked to South Palace E and upper official, that separately walk, have what danger to inform the other party in time. Shangguan and Nangong Yi nodded, got up and walked to the left. Zhou Feiyu looked at the dragon and Cloud Dance that left later. His eyes were deep. He saw impatience in her eyes. Where on earth can he compare with him and make her so disgusted with herself? He can't help but start to search memory, searching whether he had seen her before, whether he had done anything to disgust her. Cloud Dance, 3 people walk all the way, the more deep, the more obvious the dark power. Suddenly, a gust of wind blowing, the wind with a trace of black fog shrouded, yellow leaves on the ground were swept up, whirling all over the sky. The treetops rustle, and the wind rips in my ears. Yunwu looks at the dark fog in front of her, and a trace of coldness passes through her eyes. The dark fog that can't be seen is as black as ink. Once you go in, it's like falling into a dark space that you can't get away from. Come in. Under the black veil, the evil eyes of the dragon look at the Cloud Dance with an elusive smile. Cloud Dance slightly droops her eyes, ponders for a moment, looks back at the shining eyes under the black veil of the dragon, and a trace of worry passes between her eyebrows. Will it cause any fatal trouble? Long Qingxia's mellow smile shocked her for a while, and a trace of helplessness appeared in her eyes. Then she lay on her shoulder in a coquettish way and said, "If you want to go for your husband, I hope your wife will succeed." All right. As soon as the dragon's evil words were heard, Yunwu threw down his arm and went to the place where the black fog filled like a hurricane. Looking at the Cloud Dance, which had already disappeared, he felt a smile in the corner of his eyes. This woman obviously wanted to go in, but she had to find a step for herself. Long Xiao, a cold and heartless devil, even went up the pole to make steps for her. Zhou Feiyu saw a shadow of Cloud Dance flash in front of his eyes. He didn't even think about it, so he caught up with it in an instant. Only Long Qingxia walked calmly step by step, looking at the passing figure of Zhou Feiyu. His mouth was filled with a grim sneer, and his evil eyes were filled with merciless light. Cloud Dance looked back at a leisurely, like the dragon in the walk eyes, a cold, cold way. Can you hurry up? Long Qingxia's face turned innocent and sped up. He came to her like a ghost. Can't you understand me? Zhou Feiyu looked at the dragon in front of him. He was surprised and turned into a cold light. He is very sure that this is not his illusion. I just learned the speed you taught me. How can I use it so smoothly? Long Qingxia's innocent face drags her skirt, and her slender fingers are constantly rubbing, just like he has been wronged. Cloud Dance face instant black, Canthus twitching and blame her? If it wasn't for Zhou Feiyu, she would not hesitate to kick his evil face. Let him pretend. Reload. Act innocent. It's a rascal who eats people without spitting bones and kills people without blinking eyes. But she didn't find that they were so similar. This kind of description is also very appropriate for her. When Zhou Feiyu heard the dragon's evil words, the coldness at the bottom of his eyes gradually subsided and replaced by a trace of angry flame. Go in. Zhou Feiyu finally can't bear it. He drags Yunwu behind him and drags Yunwu into the black fog. Just as they entered, there was a roar of thunder and lightning, a roar of flame, and a ferocious mania of the surging river. The black fog suddenly became violent, and a whirlpool formed in an instant. Zhou Feiyu and Yunwu were in the whirlpool, and the feeling of suffocation and oppression eroded the whole body. Suddenly, Yunwu felt that the hurricane was getting stronger and stronger, and the airflow that was eroding the body was becoming sharper and sharper. gradually like a whip, like a blunt knife, and finally completely like a sharp blade. The burning sensation invaded the skin and burned it. Damn it! Outside the black fog, the eyes of Dragon Qingxie, who was still standing outside, were cold. Just as he was about to come forward, he heard a curse from the cloud. Then he raised his mouth and calmed his evil eyes again. He put his hands around his chest and waited for her to come out. Generally, as long as you hear her cursing, it means that she is angry. As long as she is angry, she either retreats with her whole body or pulls on a cushion. Yunwu looks at the whirlpool, which is as sharp as a blade, and uses the wind element to attack her body to create her own whirlpool. Then, with a stroke of her hand, a towering wooden wall stood behind her. Rubbed, the flame between her palms burned up, constantly leaping, illuminating the ferocious black fog, and the cloud dance's face of cold words. She suddenly hit the wooden wall. Bang! With a loud crash and sparks, the wooden wall trembled and fell backward, like a mountain pressing down the top. The black fog was impacted by the huge airflow, the whirlpool around her began to spread around, and the wooden wall just made a bridge for her to go out. After a while, Long Qingxie saw a cold and bloodthirsty purple figure coming out calmly in the black fog. Looking at the figure, he drew a charming smile from the corner of his mouth. How could his woman be so hard to deal with? With a shadow passing by, he came to her, hugged her in his arms and brought her back to safety. On the other side, Zhou Feiyu was surrounded by the whirlpool, and there was a silver light around him. When he saw that Yunwu had gone out safely, his eyes were cold and his hands were domineering. The silver light, just as Zhou Feiyu was about to leave the black fog, a remnant of white light attacked him. The action on his hand was stunned and pondered for a moment. The silver light around his body suddenly dispersed, and the white shadow passed him. However, he was eroded by the black fog, vomited a mouthful of blood, and then came out from the black fog. That arrogant, domineering and indifferent face was a little pale at this time, and the tight lips were also bloodless. Cloud dance slightly frown, eyebrow a convergence, eye ground pass a trace of sullen, a hand touch up the long Qing evil waist, exhausted all strength to pinch down. This childish guy. Even taking advantage of people's danger, such a sinister and obscene thing can be done. Even though she knew she was not much worse, but at least not now. Long Qingxie's sword eyebrows wrinkled, but there was a smug smile in the corner of his mouth, and some provocative Chaoyan dances picked eyebrows. It seems to say that the woman who covets him will let him pay for his life next time. Zhou Feiyu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. In his eyes, which were lower than the ice, there was a sense of coldness. The power of the white shadow was so great that it was impossible for him to think of it with his own power. Who on earth sent out the spiritual power? Cloud Dance? He secretly denied that Yunwu could not attack him. Dragon's evil? There was a trace of meditation at the bottom of his eyes, neither positive nor negative. Or the people in the forest who have been spying on them. There was a chill in his eyes. Are you all right? Cloud Dance's tiny Siu eyebrow, looking at several wounds on his body, the eye bottom flits past one to put on can't bear. Zhou Feiyu raised his eyes, sharp eyes looked at her, as if across a layer of frost eyes, slightly frowned. Are you okay? Yunwu shakes his head. Seeing that he's okay, he doesn't speak anymore. She looked back at the black fog, which was like a huge barrier to separate the forest into two meals. Moreover, the fog also used array. If it wasn't for people with high martial arts skills or who knew array, there would be only one way to die. She vaguely felt that the end of the fog was the source they were looking for. So what we need to do now is to go through the barrier of this pit father. Yunwu lowers her head and touches her chin, but the remaining light in her eyes glances at Long Qingxie and Zhou Feiyu, and a helpless sadness rushes through her eyes. If Long Qingxie can use his martial arts openly, it will be much easier for them to cross this barrier. But now Zhou Feiyu has been with them. She has to ponder over how to take her little man with her. Well, it seems that the color is different there. Suddenly, when Yunwu is going to leave with Long Qingxie by using the wind element, Long Qingxie looks at a bright white scratch in the fog on the left side and says, Zhou Feiyu and Cloud Dance look at the place of Dragon's evil finger in Qi dynasty. Like an abyss in the dark fog, a strange scratch light loomed. Zhou Feiyu gazed at the light and his eyes were cold. If he was right, the white light was the same as the shadow that attacked him. The light, like a silver dragon, blooms in the endless darkness. It is engulfed by the darkness and reappears again. Then it is engulfed and reappears again, just like a living body with countless lives. Cloud Dance looks at the light, and a smile passes at the bottom of her eyes. Then it passes by the back of Zhou Feiyu for a moment. Looking back, she looks at the dragon around her, and the corner of her mouth is slightly crooked, with a deep smile. And Dragon Qing Xie is toward her evil spirit smile, gas if dish silk of in her ear way. For husband performance how, is moved to want to kiss me? Cloud Dance glanced at the monster beside her face. The smile at the corner of her mouth was like a flaming rose blooming, full of charming breath. It's rare to perform so well, just asking for a kiss is not worth it. After that, she obviously felt that the body of Long Qingxie, who was leaning against her, suddenly froze. After that, he gave her a look. Then I ask you to be a little woman for a day, right? Be obedient. When he said he was obedient, he stopped deliberately and increased the volume of 4 words. A pair of evil eyes moved down and fell on her chest, full of aggressive light. The magnetic voice came from his chest, but it became a kind of poison that could bewitch her heart. Cloud Dance looked at his naked aggressive eyes. A successful smile passed by the bottom of his eyes. You have no chance to expire. She picked his eyebrows, and a dashing smile spread from his eyebrows. Then I want that kiss. It's overdue. There's nothing left. Your kiss has expired. Mine has not expired. Dragon Qing evil low evil spirit a smile. Black eyes inside the deep is full of smile. This woman unexpectedly give him set. Cloud Dance. Zhou Feiyu, who has been staring at the light, frowns slightly when he hears their voices. When he looks back, Yunwu has come behind him. That pair of sharp eyes flashed a trace of doubt, soon hidden. There should be a gap here. Let's open it together and let him go first. Cloud Dance raises mouth to look at Zhou Feiyu, and then looks back at a glance, just like smile, looking at her dragon to pour evil, helplessly say. Zhou Feiyu glanced at the dragon behind him indifferently. He couldn't tell the complexity in his eyes. However, he nodded and joined forces with Yunwu to open a gap in the white light. Long Qingxie, supported by the joint efforts of the two, calmly passed through the barrier. Although he opened a gap in the barrier with his spiritual power, it would waste a lot of power to open a gap one person wide. After entering the barrier, he walked slowly, but in the dark, he supported the Cloud Dance with his own strength under the cover of the powerful spiritual power of the black fog. And Zhou Feiyu, because of internal injury, obviously feels some difficulty. Cloud Dance felt the power from him, and stared at the calm figure in the gap. For the first time, it had a feeling that it wanted to trample the figure with an extraordinary posture on the ground. This guy did it on purpose. Little girl. The more Dragon Qingxie walked, the more dignified he felt the breath of darkness. Under the black veil, the evil eyes were more and more deep. When Long Qingxie came to the end of the black fog barrier, he looked at the scene in front of him and was stunned. Then he drew a cold smile on the corner of his mouth. Cloud Dance is holding the strong wind, and Zhou Feiyu is scattering the clear on. They come all the way. After they break through the darkness, they see a piece of light that makes people feel like a place of fantasy. Is this the light after the dark? Cloud Dance looked at the scene in front of her eyes, and the surprise in her eyes could not be concealed. The darkness of the first second is frightening, and the light of the second is illusory. Is there too much difference between the two? In front of my eyes, the willows are green and the wildflowers are blooming everywhere. When I look up at the sky, it's as pure as a mirror, the clouds are bright and clear, and the blue sky is as vast as the sea. Not far away is a towering mountain, dense white fog hazy, cannot see the end of the peak, but it is not difficult to find that the peak around the hidden huge power. Cloud Dance looks back and stares at the dark sky behind her. After observing the transparent white jade sky, 3 black lines appear on her forehead. Is this a forest? It's a forest, but it's isolated by people. The first half of the spiritual power is dark and resentful. The spiritual power here is pure and comfortable. It should be the territory of two people. Zhou Feiyu gazed at the scene in front of him. His eyes were awe-inspiring, and his lips were slightly wriggling. Two people's territory? Cloud some helpless Piao One-Eye headspace. Elder isn't to say all the time south is Green Python Cave? Why did they enter the border? After a moment's meditation, Cloud Dance's eyes pass a trace of worry. She doesn't know what's going on with Nangong Yi and Shangguan. Then she smiles with relief. The strength of the two of them can be regarded as mutual indignation. At the worst, even if they can't fight, it doesn't matter if they run away. Who are you? How can you be here? Suddenly, has been quiet space, a touch of vicissitudes of life, hoarse sound resounded around. When they heard the sound, they were surprised because they couldn't determine the direction of the sound. We don't mean to break into your border. There's no malice. Who are you? Cloud Dance looked around, and found nothing. Ha ha ha. The old man's laughter was unpleasant. Little girl, how to get in, how to get out, or you don't want to go out again. The cloud dances and hears the words, and the corners of the mouth are restrained. Girl, how did you break into the border? The voice of Bai Lao's surprise in the necklace rang in Yunwu's mind. You think I want to come? Cloud Dance's forehead appears black line, heart red to convey their helplessness. This is not blind cat hit dead mouse, coincidence. The magical power of this Moyu forest is immeasurable. When it breaks out, the whole mainland of China can tremble. This person's breath is pure. He should be the one who guards the forest. Old Bai touched his beard and nodded thoughtfully. Who's guarding the forest? Is the dark power destroying the forest? Cloud Dance eyebrow tip a young, seemed to understand what. Bai Lao nodded. I'm not very clear about the specific process. The abnormality in the forest comes from the struggle of the dark spirit. What's the consequence of that dark power breaking away? It's nothing to break free from the dark power, but if the forest is destroyed, the power will break out. Cloud Dance slightly jawhead. This result seems not surprised. It seems to want to know something or need to get in this person. It's going to be a disaster, but you can still laugh. The cloud dances, the corners of the mouth are slightly raised, and the fine on is in the eye light. Long Qingxie was not surprised when she heard that he was going to have a big disaster. On the contrary, she looked like, Madam, you are so powerful. The old man didn't speak for a long time. In the pure and transparent space, like a fairyland among people, there are bright lights everywhere. And here elegant and comfortable breath, she seems to have felt in pity a Huan. Girl, who are you? What's the purpose of coming here? The old man's voice with a slight look and doubt broke the silence of the space. I'm a student of Shenwang's Samurai Academy. I've been ordered by several elders to investigate the abnormality in the forest these days. Cloud Dance said this. The Long Qing evil sees her visions slightly deep one silk. Zhou Feiyu was puzzled and looked at her. He knew that the people in the forest were entangled with the inner college. Why did he point out his identity? Looking at her self-confident and arrogant side face, Zhou Feiyu suddenly smiles. In his memory, she never made a dangerous and loss-making decision. She must have her own reason for doing so. He just had to watch and wait for her to make a move when she needed it. Are you a student of the college? There was a pause in the old man's voice. Yes. Cloud Dance's eyes flashed a smile. It seems that she bet right. This old man must have something to do with the college, but it is not a hostile relationship. Vaguely, Yunwu seemed to hear the man sigh, and then he said, Since they sent you, come in and talk. Suddenly, as soon as his voice fell, the towering mountain opened a door. Cloud Dance looks back at Long Qingxie and Zhou Feiyu, with a charming and evil smile on the corner of her mouth. Long Qingxie and Zhou Feiyu looked down at his smile. This woman can always accurately guess other people's thoughts. Long Qingxie looks at Zhou Feiyu's smile. The smile froze in the corner of his eyes, and an undercurrent flits through his eyes. Then he goes to Yunwu and circles her willow waist to walk towards the gate of the mountain. Just as Yunwu wanted to give him a hook, she didn't move when she touched Zhou Feiyu. What she wants belongs to her at the same time. She will hold fast to what she doesn't want. Even if it belongs to her, she won't leave a trace of hope. Clean, self-interest, entanglement is not her style. Zhou Feiyu didn't follow him. He just looked at the hand on Yunwu's waist. The corner of his mouth grinned, which was the coldest smile. I just found out now that there are so many enemies around me, and they are all masters. Long Qingxie looks at her, and his eyes pass a dangerous, evil and harmless smile. Cloud Dance glared at him. Don't mess around. It depends on your performance. Long Qingxie put his arm around her waist and made a little effort. His sword eyebrows were slightly raised, and his eyes were full of gunpowder. Cloud Dance micro-frown, naturally understand the meaning of his words. If this guy is determined to do what, she is afraid she can't stop. She suddenly flashed a sentence in her mind. If you kill the other party and bloodstain her body, you can get the ability of the other party and jump straight to the class. There are so many enemies in love. They are all masters. They are naked threats. Yunwu raised a cute and warm smile, grabbed the hand that encircled him around his waist, pulled it slightly, held it in his arms, and nestled up to him. How about that? Cloud Dance raises eyes and gently stares at his eyes, secretly sending eyes. The bottom of my heart is hate. Teeth cackle, this insidious guy. Threatening her. Suddenly, her forehead black line, a face angrily thinking, why should she be threatened by him? He can kill if he wants. What does it matter to her? Perform well and strive for excellence. Long Qingxie nodded with satisfaction and gave her a kiss on her forehead in front of her chest, but she had already laughed in her heart. It's rare for this woman to be so docile. It's hard to meet her in 1,000 years. After this village, there won't be this shop. He has to trample on it. Suddenly, Yunwu saw a smile like a fishy cat in his evil eyes, and his eyes were cold. Well. Before he began to ravage, Yunwu nestled in his arms and stepped hard. With a dull sound of pain, Long Qingxie squatted on his body, one foot burning. Cloud Dance looked back and glared at him. Deserve it. It's just abusive. Long Qingxie looks at the cool figure, and his eyes pass a trace of helplessness. When Yunwu walked into the mountain, he found that there was no difference between the mountain and a cave. The only difference was that there were moss or uneven holes on the stone walls of the cave. And the cave of this mountain peak is smooth, delicate and glossy, just like artificial polishing. Little girl, you said the elder of the college let you in? The old man asked like a question. Yes. Cloud Dance patrols around, only to hear the voice of the old man talking around, but did not find any trace of people. Since they believe you students, I believe you too. The dark breath in the forest has been extremely fierce recently. I guess it's the devil heaven who has been stimulated. But what's difficult now is that even if the devil heaven calms down again, the boundary of suppressing the dark breath has been loosened. If the dark breath breaks the boundary, the consequences will be. At this time, Long Qingxie had come in, followed by Zhou Feiyu. They couldn't hear a word of the old man's words. While listening to the old man, Yunwu could not help looking for the old man, but found that there was no one. Finally, she could not help saying, "What is your numenon?" Not with. Cloud Dance looked around the cave in amazement, held back his vomit, swallowed a mouthful of saliva and stammered, "This isn't that your stomach? Ha ha ha, you see through it." The old man is a burst of vicissitudes of life, happy smile. This makes Cloud Dance completely speechless. Long Qingxie looked at her as if she was going to be killed by thunder. With a hook in the corner of her mouth, she shook her head helplessly. Did you find out? I can't stand it. Let me calm down. Cloud Dance patted his chest, looking at the smooth stone wall of the cave. His eyes trembled hard to calm, followed by a convulsion. Sure enough, as she thought, his numenon was the same as the mountain peak and the strange training tower. After a long time, Yunwu finally calmed down the stimulation in the body, and the unacceptability in her eyes gradually restored her usual indifference. Who is the devil? Why are you imprisoned? Why is he stimulated? Yunwu's eyes were a little confused, and the corners of his mouth were slightly pursed. His indifferent attitude was completely different from the funny side just now. The old man heard the question of Cloud Dance and sighed deeply. What he sighed was helplessness and vicissitudes. Magic Heaven used to be my apprentice. He fell in love with my daughter because they were destined to fight each other. If they were together, it would lead to a catastrophe. So anyway, the elders of the college didn't agree. However, they ran away and escaped here when they were chasing. The old man's voice was hoarse and deep, and his words were full of helplessness at that time. So the devil was swallowed up by the dark? A great change of nature? Cloud Dance eyebrow tip a young, I light inflit a silk surprised. No, it's the devil who devours the dark breath. The corner of Zhou Feiyu's mouth was sharp, and there was a trace of determination flame in his sharp eyes. Devil, he has heard the name. Hearing what he said, Yunwu frowned slightly. His eyes suddenly became clear. He looked at Zhou Feiyu slightly. Do you mean that the devil heaven belongs to the dark people? He is the same as that dark and endless black fog, and his daughter is the pure and polluted sky. Zhou Feiyu narrowed his eyes and didn't know what he was thinking. Long Qingxie has just heard the name of devil heaven, and the corners of his mouth have been sketching with a smile, and the corners of his eyes are a touch of ice cold with playfulness. Your daughter is dead? The Cloud Dance's the Mao light to pass a silk indifference, seemed to ask, also seemed to affirm. If it wasn't for his daughter's death, the devil would not fall into the dark completely, and let the dark breath have the chance to control him completely. Hearing this, the elder sighed again, and suddenly felt desolate and sad in the cave. Dragon Qing evil mouth a yang, that small as poppy bloom, charming danger. So the curse of the forest comes from the devil. Devil, the descendants of the ancient demons. Long Qingxia's deep eyes flashed by. The demons had been destroyed for thousands of years, and no one was alive. Unexpectedly, there were still descendants who survived in this world. Under the black veil, the evil eyes couldn't help lifting slightly, looking at the smooth wall with deep thought, and then the evil, heartless, and slightly sarcastic smile appeared in the corner of his mouth. It's their own suffering, their own eating. However, after the constant baptism of this pure spiritual power, his demonic nature is far from the same as before, and he can't break through the boundary unless Dragon Qing's evil eyes were a little strange, evil, and cold. His eyes were like a blade embroidered with frost, which made Yunwu feel a chill. The Cloud Dances suspiciously to stare at a dragon to pour evil, that put on the breath on his body to disappear suddenly, is a face enchantment of ambiguous looking at her, throwing a fawning eye toward her. Cloud Dance forces himself to ignore the flattering eyes he sends. The bottom of his eyes looks at him thoughtfully for a moment. Does he already know everything? Suddenly, they felt a strong breath coming at top speed. Bang! With a dull collision, the whole space is like an earthquake. If it wasn't for Yunwu, who supports his body with spiritual power, he would have fallen to the ground now. The three of them looked at the dark air in the distance. When they collided with the border, they emitted a silver light. The border of the whole forest was impacted. It seems that the dark air is going to break the border. You three get out of here. Suddenly, the elder's voice sounded again with some pain. Cloud Dance eyebrows a convergence, the bottom of the eyes across a trace of worry, the moment wind element-wrapped body pulled Dragon Qing evil rushed out. Zhou Feiyu followed. This time, Yunwu looked up and found that the sky above the distant gray was so pure and natural. It seemed that the black air was surrounded by pure space and could not escape. Suddenly, a touch of frost appeared between her eyes and eyebrows, as if she understood that the black air was something sealed by the border. She could imagine how close the situation was at that time. The original smell in the forest should be pure and colorless, right? But the dark breath is increasing in the control of Magic Queen, and the pure breath in the forest is gradually replaced by the dark breath. Most of the reason why the elder is here is that he has made a struggle to control the spread of the dark breath. Now the dark breath has been completely imprisoned and is disappearing. I'm afraid that's the credit of the elder? By the way, and the credit of his dead daughter. It seems that the problem this time is not to see if the demon heaven is still imprisoned in the green python cave, but to find out the culprit who stimulates the demonic nature in the demon heaven. At this time, her eyes can't help but have a dark glance at Long Qingxie, thinking of a sentence he said. A person who should have appeared but didn't. Is that him? Cloud Dance narrowed her eyes and saw a dangerous light. Devil's power is stronger and stronger. Go to Green Python Cave to stop Devil. He must not be freed from his captivity. The elder's voice was hoarse and anxious with pain. It should be the darkness that just hit his border and made him suffer internal injury. Cloud Dance's eyes calmly swept over the mountain, in different way. Don't worry, my two friends have gone there. Oh. On hearing this, the old man's tone of no leisure was not as anxious as he had just been, and then he resumed his usual calm mood and said, Then you should hurry there, old man. I have nothing to do here. Cloud Dance slightly jaw-head, toward the elder nodded. Don't know Shangguan in South Palace either of situation how? The three of them bid farewell to the elderly, left the peak, spent the darkness in the same way, and returned to the fork again. Before the words of Cloud Dance were finished, he felt that there was a fierce fighting spirit. Then he saw a dark fighting spirit rushing in front of him. Before he had time to think about it, she sidestepped to avoid a blow, while Zhou Feiyu met the dark fighting spirit. The two fighting spirits collided and dissipated in the air. Out of danger for a moment, frost suddenly appeared in her eyes, staring at the direction of fighting, eyes dark. She doesn't like people who put cold arrows behind her. Especially when she was unprepared. Long Qingxie looks at the figure. The slender fingers in his sleeves are slightly tight, and an evil and bloodthirsty smile spreads around his mouth. It's a look that only comes when you see the dead or the dying. Her woman, want to hurt. No mercy. Now get out of here, I can think about letting you go. A touch of indifference and silence of the voice of the empty, no waves ring up. It's him. That skinny boy. Cloud Dance Mao Guang is sink. She thinks she how also can't forget that youth, that is like a wisp of empty soul but again gloomy ferocious youth. The corner of Long Qingxie's eyes was slightly lower. When he first came to the fork, he felt that there was a pair of eyes staring at them. It was not until they separated that these eyes completely disappeared. Long Qingxie's eyes are full of secret. If he guesses right, Nangong Yi and Shangguan are in trouble. How about, no, you are also the son of the first prophet of the Zhou dynasty. How can you be so bad? It sucks in the gray space. Nangongji sits next to Shangguan, and Shangguan's thoughts never stop. As soon as they saw the Green Python Cave, they were sucked in by this strange space. They thought it would be life-threatening inside, but who knew it was so comfortable that people could forget themselves. Inside, the four sides are smooth and bright. Apart from the confinement of space itself, there is nothing. But they can't just sit and enjoy it. They have to go out and solve things. They tried to break through the space defense together, but in the end, they all failed. Nangong Yi was there to check and figure out where there was a loophole in the space, but he was rejected by the Shangguan all the time. He didn't work hearing Shangguan's constant fragmentary thoughts. Nangong Yi frowned a little. His voice was cool and elegant, and he said, Why don't you come here? I'm not the son of Shensuan. Why should I come? Shangguan murmured to himself. He lay on the ground and stopped talking. Nangong Yi takes a thin and cool look at him and continues to look for the gap. Any smart array or skillful border will have its own weakness. It depends on whether it can be found. Thinking of this, there was a trace of worry in those elegant eyes. They were trapped for so long and didn't know what was going on outside. Although he still felt like a god, there was a little anxiety in his eyes. And the Shangguan behind him, his eyes glanced to a place from time to time, deep, that place faintly suffused with different light from space. Yunwu glances at the Long Qingxie, who is also looking at her at the moment. There is no ordinary loose evil in his evil eyes, but a little more deep. Yunwu naturally understood the information he wanted to show in his eyes. She took back her eyes and gazed at the figure. The corner of her mouth was slightly cold and said, Come, how can you come back empty-handed? The shadow hidden in the dark, hearing her words, the dark color at the bottom of her eyes was cold. It's not that I didn't give you a chance. Suddenly, a white flame suddenly hit. Yunwoo looked at the slender white flame, and the flame came out of his palm. Facing the white flame, the two flames collided. The sound of bang is like fireworks blooming. The breath of condensation suddenly rises. In the turbulent wind, several people's long hair dances. Their clothes are stiff and swayed by the impact of the air. The remnant of the flame seems to leap into the clouds through the mid-air. The cloud dances the Mao bottom to pass as silk surprised. Her flame has already completely disappeared. The white flame remnant shadow is still unexpectedly, to his white flame. Her flame unexpectedly appears some strength insufficient. Long Qingxia half narrowed his eyes and looked at the hazy figure thoughtfully. The smile at the corner of his mouth was a bit deep, but there was a trace of doubt. Obviously, he didn't expect to meet him here again. He is really everywhere. The smile of Dragon's evil mouth is bigger. He is evil and bloodthirsty. In the dark, the young man watched the scene of the flame colliding and dying together. The bloody smile on the corner of his mouth was slightly stiff at the moment. He only used 5 parts of the flame, and the woman didn't try her best. That empty eyes out of a bright color, this woman gave him too many accidents. Looking back from the last time they fight not long, this woman progress speed let him slightly surprised. Think of her identity, maybe his look was dignified and chilly, with a chilling darkness, which completely trapped the purple figure at the bottom of his eyes in his empty and ghostly eyes. If you stay, that would be the biggest threat to them. A touch of scarlet appeared in his eyes, bloodthirsty looking at the clouds. This woman is interesting, rare encounter such an interesting plaything, first play with her. Yunwoo felt that the airflow around her became weak again, and a touch of frost appeared faintly. With the white flame in the air, she was almost frozen. Naturally, Zhou Feiyu didn't know what happened when they saw this man last time, but he could feel the pressure everywhere. When he saw the white flame dancing towards the clouds again, his sharp eyes were surprised. This time, the flame was more piercing and cold than the last time, and the distance also increased a lot. Without thinking about it, he stepped forward and gathered all his strength in his palm, turning it into fighting spirit, facing the white flame. All of a sudden, his feet vibrated, and the whole forest was full of vines. Half of the broken vines were frozen, and the cracks were still slightly open. When Zhou Feiyu felt the powerful power of the white flame, he loosened his feet and retreated a little. His sharp eyes looked at the fire, and there was an endless sense of killing. The young man is controlling the fire, increasing his strength bit by bit. The corner of his mouth is a playful smile, while Zhou Feiyu is awe-inspiring and does not move anymore. He feels that the other person is playing with himself. The corner of his eye was cold, and the dense light around his body lit up for a moment. Once again, he smashed the precious flame into bits and pieces of shadow. Yunwoo looks at the white flames and the frozen woods, and her eyes pass a sense of weakness. It's that feeling again, it's the empty and strange feeling of suffocation. Cloud Dance looks at the hazy youth. Suddenly, the cold light at the bottom of eyes floats up, obviously, with that bloody and enchanting smile, full of domineering. This time she won't be on the run. As long as you can move, you will never stop. The undercurrent suddenly appeared at the bottom of her eyes. The surging waves of her eyes reflected the figure of the youth. The bloodthirsty smile was more obvious in the corner of her mouth. I don't know when there was a big knife in her hand. Dragon Qing, evil clear, this time she is gambling on their own lives, decided to fight. There was a tangle in the bottom of his eyes. The man was definitely not so easy to deal with. Even if she could barely win, the final result was that both sides were hurt. That evil spirit's eye light depth once again falls into ponder. Do you want to do it? Unfortunately, it's not the right time. The black flame of Gulong's sword in Yunwoo's hand is as deep as her indifferent and bloodthirsty eyes. Mo Bai, who is hiding in the dark, looks at her bloodthirsty breath, and the corner of her mouth is cold. In addition to the strange light, there is a trace of complexity in her evil eyes. I can't see why. His eyes moved from her face and glanced at Zhou Feiyu vaguely. All of a sudden, a sound of toppling suddenly fell, only to see that the broken half of the frozen branches had been pounded to the ground, and the ice surrounding them was completely gone. For a moment, The temperature in the forest suddenly returned to normal. Cloud Dance's eyes light a tight, looking at the dark in the hidden ink white, eyes deep across a trace of doubt. She felt the coldness around her and the killing was gone. It seemed that in an instant things would return to the origin. The sharp edge of the black fire sword was also reduced. The corner of Dragon's mouth sank, and there was no sense of danger. Did he stop? In that evil and enchanting black eyes, a trace of doubt flitted by and disappeared in the twinkling of an eye. Zhou Feiyu glanced at the place where Mobai was. He couldn't feel any difference. His sharp eyes were alert to the surroundings. He didn't know if he had left. Under the gray ink sky, the three people fought against each other, and the quiet forest fell into a dead silence. I'm in a good mood today. I'm thinking about letting you go. If I meet you next time, either you go or he goes. A gloomy and bloodthirsty smile echoes in the forest with a touch of chilly Lin foam. Cloud Dance smell speech, micro frown, eyes inside frost more obvious. The son of the national master, the son of the devil, a dry, cold and bloodthirsty man living on the edge of darkness, why should he stop at this critical moment? Are you afraid you can't beat the three of them? The reason is far-fetched. Dragon Qing evil smell speech, eyes inside a don't know what meaning smile again emerge. Cloud Dance stares at him one eye, looking at his deep meaning smile, don't understand of ask away, you smile what? Long Qingxia put his arms around her waist, and raised his mouth slightly, revealing a touch of evil charm, guess. It's just that there's a sense of relief under the smile of returning to the past evil. She knew that he must have noticed the reason why he stopped, but she wanted to know the reason why he came here more than the reason why he stopped. Are the minions of the Beast Gate really everywhere? It seems that in the future, they will be her most faithful witnesses when she conquers all the way. No matter harm him, kill him, even take his ancestors 18 generations to threaten him, he will follow. It's rare to see a dog like this in the world. Cloud Dance put away the sword, and took off the whole body's tense state of preparing for the war. In the degree, it restored the past indifference. She looked back at Zhou Feiyu beside her, looked at his handsome and pale face, and a trace of intolerance passed in her eyes. Can it be okay? Zhou Feiyu toward her smile, like a sneer, like desolation. This injury can calculate what? The pain in his heart is the most unbearable place for him. Cloud Dance's tiny jaw head, then turned around to return to Dragon Qing evil side, but mercilessly stare at him. This man is so strong inside and outside that no one wants him, but his heart is smaller than that of a woman, and his mind is worse than that of a devil. If he doesn't hurt him, will he be sick? Shouldn't you save your own woman? How can you be so generous and give the opportunity to others? Cloud Dance is the most embarrassed, raising a smile. The smile is bright, eyes are bright, gentle with a trace of arrogance and natural and unrestrained. Long Qingxia looks at that smile, and stares at her straightly. His heart attack slows down for half a beat. In the next second, he quickly takes a breath of evil. I know the weight of my woman best, but if he is willing to be gallant, let him be. Anyway, you can't use it. Long Qingxia smiles at her evil spirit. The corners of his mouth outline meaninglessly. It seems that everything is under his control. Cloud Dance willow eyebrow a low, but also can't help but glance at a tiny closed eyes, seems to be in the breathing of Zhou Feiyu, eyes light swept a trace of guilt. Since he was born, the number of injuries should be very few, right? But when he saw her before and after, he suffered 2 internal injuries. Although she didn't ask him to do these, it was because of her. Ruthless as she is, she can't completely turn a deaf ear. But I have to ponder again. Shouldn't he calculate his major events in the Zhou dynasty? Why did you land in the Samurai Academy for no reason? Also all the way to challenge ran into the college? Is it possible that he still wants to enter the promotion contest and strive for the qualification to enter the Three Kingdoms contest? What is his purpose? Yunwu's eyes narrowed slightly, and a look of inquiry fell on Zhou Feiyu's pale face. Suddenly, Yunwu felt an evil chill on her back, which made her back stiff. There was a trace of helplessness in her eyes. She looked back and saw that she was smiling at Shanglong. Cloud dance indifferent white he one eye. You'll be jealous of your husband like this. Long Qingxia picks up Yunwu and presses her on his chest. His eyes catch a deep glance at Zhou Feiyu, and a smile appears in the corner of his eyes. You are so excellent, how can other men compare with you? Cloud Dance's mouth raised a smile, circle on his back, a deep sigh. There is helplessness, there is peace of mind. The lady has eyes. Dragon Qing evil against her forehead, hot breath blowing in her face, scratching out a little shortness of breath. Narcissism. Yunwu pushes him away, gets up and walks towards Zhou Feiyu, who is closing his eyes to heal. Is that okay? Zhou Feiyu's eyebrows were low, and his palms were shining with a strange blue light. He entered the dantian from his chest like a magic color. Cloud Dance will see his face basically return to normal. The heavy breathing sound is much more stable. Yes. Let's go. Long Qingxia encircles Yunwu, and Zhou Feiyu follows. When Yunwu leaves, he looks at the vine that has just been broken, and always feels uneasy. After they left, a black figure fell quietly, looking at the clouds in purple in the distance, with a cold smile on the corner of their mouth. He was not far away from Yunwu, but the three people who walked seemed not to find him. There was no breath on him, just like a corpse with no soul but body. Gloomy, dead, bloodthirsty. Poof! He suddenly sprayed a mouthful of blood, and his pale face was covered with frost and snow. He bowed his head and knelt down on the ground, covering his chest. The blood on the ground reflected a ferocious face, and the corner of his mouth with a line of blood raised a creepy smile. He betrayed him after all. In the blood drop, that pair of gloomy pupil Mao is slightly killing intention. He stood up, a little shaking, a shadow swept past, disappeared in the same place. Dragon Qing evil mouth outlines an evil smile that has been hidden deep gradually fade. As they walked along, they always felt that the smell of blood in front of them was very strong. The pungent smell filled the air. The maple leaves in the forest were red, but it was a kind of red like blood. They were ready to drop when they touched it. Three people look at each other, but the pace did not slow down, still walking at the same speed. Suddenly, the Cloud Dance stopped, and a trace of frost passed by the bottom of her eyes. Looking at the blood spots in the distance, her eyes tightened. Maple leaves, tree trunks, endless rugged path, everywhere is the size of dew with thick black blood drops. Cloud Dance micro frown, eyes across a trace of surprise. These bloodstains are obviously not fresh. Why can spread such a big smell of blood? Dragon Qing evil corner of the mouth a bend, looking at the black blood drop half squint Mao Sun Wei. Should not be all things in the boundary, all still keep sealed the boundary that moment appearance? When Zhou Feiyu heard him speak, he raised his eyes and glanced at him. His sharp eyes didn't find anything unusual. Cloud Dance willow eyebrow a wrinkly, suspiciously glanced at a Long Qingxia. How do you know? Dragon Qing evil slightly raised eyebrows, mouth wipe a smile, pure magnetic way. Guess. You can really guess. Cloud Dance glances at him, and a touch of meditation passes through his eyes. He's right. The boundary separates the space of the forest. Everything in the space has not changed with time. Everything remains the same. Then these drops of blood and the smell of blood can explain it. Cloud Dance looks at the scene of the wind passing by. As soon as the eye's light sinks, the slanting cutting of the trees is still new, the messy maple leaves reflect the red of the body, and the gullies on the ground seem to be the rise of powerful forces. The whole scene can only be described as messy. There should have been a very fierce fight here. Let's go. Yunwu frowned and looked at the two people behind her. The smell of blood made her have a little resistance, as if she saw her bloodthirsty heart. She is bloodthirsty, but she doesn't want to see herself so clearly. Long Qingxia seemed to see through her mind. He glanced back at Zhou Feiyu and said, 7 kings have so much blood in their hands. What do you think when you see this scene now? Zhou Feiyu cold hum a smile, Mao light dark sink a few minutes. A hand without blood is doomed to be eliminated. His words were heretical to the dragon, but his eyes looked at the cloud dancing in front of him. Cloud Dance listens to two people's words. The eye bottom passes as silk helpless. They this you a word I a language of, want to express what meaning? Can you enlighten her? Does she still need them to enlighten? When are you two going to be together? Cloud Dance turns around and glances at two people. As long as it's good for you, my husband is willing to make do with it. The dragon goes to the clouds, and the smile in his eyes is dense and hazy. See Zhou Feiyu's face for a moment, sharp eyes pan with anger. You say it again. Dragon Qingxia hugged Cloud Dancing waist and looked at Zhou Feiyu. His chi was still like, I said I would. Stop! Without waiting for Long Qingxia to make do with it, Cloud Dance roared in the forest. The voice mixed with the wind, became as creepy as a ghost, wandering back and forth in the ears of Long Qingxia and Zhou Feiyu. Two people hear this voice to rage to drink, is slightly a zheng. Maybe they have never seen Cloud Dance roar like this. And Cloud Dance completely no matter two people how surprised. The Mao inside a wipe sullen flash, get up to walk forward. If she stops them, I'm afraid they are going to fight. She doesn't know if they will be rational, but it's certain that they will all turn into pigs in the end. Imagine that two natural, handsome, and evil people become black and blue. She feels that her vision has received a certain blow, so she must not let this happen. This must not happen. The first reaction is Dragon Qingxia. A trace of complexity passes through the bottom of his eyes. Then Yang's other demons smile and trot to catch up with Yunwu. He is half coquettish and half rogue. He says, don't be angry. If you hurt your son, it's not good. Cloud Dance steps brush a listen, willow eyebrow a low, between the eyebrows vaguely emerge a touch of hazy frost, eyes is difficult because of residual anger, you say it again. Cloud Dance stares at her, the corner of the mouth slightly twitches, this shameless fellow. After hearing this, Zhou Feiyu's face suddenly changed. His feet just about to step up suddenly froze. Then he went back to the original place and didn't move. The cold light in his sharp eyes suddenly looked straight at Long Qingxia's seemingly provocative back. Long Qingxia glanced at Zhou Feiyu and saw his iron blue face and his eyebrows were flying. He could see that he was in a good mood at the moment. My son is always in your stomach. Dragon Qing evil sword eyebrow a yang, evil people's face with an evil smile, is smiling at her. When? Cloud Dance, the corner of the mouth is a smoke. All the time, just waiting for you to love me and give birth to him. The hot breath of Dragon Qingxia is slightly by the cold ear of Cloud Dance, and the smile in the eyes is always shining like a star. Long Qingxia, can you be more shameless? The cloud and mist forced himself to bear his anger and roared. His eyes were cautious and angry. There was a clear flame hidden in the cold and indifferent eyes, burning the evil eyes of the dragon. The shame of being husband is only for you. Long Qingxia gives her a look, looks at her angry face, and outlines the corner of her mouth. He still liked to see her expression of shame and anger. It's a little cute. It's a little impulsive. Cloud danced to lift Mao to glance one eye dim half sky. The sullen inside the eyes was completely degenerated into helpless. She glanced back at him and said, I'm so honored. She is not looking at him. Start forward, anyone can see her anger and Qingmeng. After a long time, the forest echoed her long sigh. When she meets him, she seems to end up in failure every time. The more she resists, the more she loses. If she doesn't resist, the more she loses. Is he the punishment given by God to her at the same time? Dragon Qing evil figure move, a touch of shadow instantly go forward, the next second will appear in front of Cloud Dance body. Cloud Dance stares at him and speeds up his pace in anger. Ah! All of a sudden, a cry of pain came from Long Qingxia behind him. Looking back at the Cloud Dance brush, he saw that Long Qingxia was half kneeling on the ground, covering his chest with his hands, and his body was constantly shaking. Just with that low roar, he obviously felt the degree of his pain. What's the matter? The cloud dances like the wind and comes to Long Qingxia's side. A chill appears in his eyes. His mental power has spread around him. He is inspecting the man who is plotting against Long Qingxia. Her first instinct is that someone plotted against Dragon's evil spirit. Because of worry, her calmness and shrewdness will be significantly lower than usual. Just like now, does she think that ordinary people's plot can hurt Dragon's evil spirit? Even if he could hurt her, he would make such a heartrending roar to make her worry about heartache? Or would he try his best to bear it and not let her find out? But at this time, Yunwoo's mind was only on him. He had no mind to think about such a complicated thing under the black veil. The ferocious face was even more distorted at the moment. There was pain hidden in the evil eyes. A drop of sweat slipped down his face and finally fell on Yunwoo's hand. Cloud Dance looks at the water drop on the hand, the facial expression instantly changes, an invisible killing idea gradually emerges. Let me see. Yunwoo pulls up his wrist to feel his pulse. Dragon Qing evil but a force to hold her full. At this moment that pair of shining black eyes inside the pain completely disappeared, converted into an evil smile. Yunwoo is surrounded in his arms, and there is a trace of worry in her eyes. The frost around her even feels the dragon's evil. Suddenly, Yunwoo pushed him away, and the dragon fell to the ground. Play with a bottom line. Cloud Dance glances at the dragon and turns away. Long Qingxia was looking at her back, and there was a painful struggle in her black eyes. After a long time, he regained his usual look and stood up. Under the black gauze that pair of evil enchantment eyes sun, looking at own chest, a wipe low pass by. Cloud Dance has been walking slowly, but the mental power has been left in the body of Dragon Qingxia, and the deep part of eyes is worry. She knew that he was really in pain just now. She could feel the pain from his weakness, but he didn't want her to worry. She knew what he thought, so she left, leaving him time to recover. She felt that the people behind her were rushing towards her at the usual speed, and her mouth was slightly crooked. Suddenly she stopped, her eyes flashed a little surprised. The smile outlined in the corner of her mouth was frozen there, and suddenly looked back, looking for Zhou Feiyu. But where is he? A touch of cold frost from her eyes quietly across. Long Qingxia looked at her looking for eyes, has come to her side, indifferent glanced at the place where Zhou Feiyu had been. The corner of his mouth appeared a smile. Where did he go? Cloud Dance raised Mao to look at a dragon to pour evil. Mao bottom flit over a trace of doubt. When she saw the smile from the corner of Long Qingxia's mouth, she knew that Zhou Feiyu's life would not be in danger. Right there. Long Qingxia refers to a place not far away, and the evil spirit dances in the clouds with a smile. Cloud Dance looks at the place where Dragon's evil fingers are pointing, and a trace of surprise passes through her eyes. Do you mean the boundary of space? Dragon Qing evil pick eyebrow to nod, looking at that place have no unusual place. Mao bottom flit over a silk dark to sink, in that. Looking at the place of the space boundary, there is a flash of surprise in Cloud Dancing eyes. Although she can also make the space boundary, she has not reached the level of making the invisible boundary. She began to speculate that if she could make this kind of border, would she be able to place it anywhere in the future? Think of her that indifference drooping corner of the mouth can't help but rise. Is there any way to break the border? Cloud Dance raised eyes to see a dragon to pour evil, but the eyes are suffused with light and cunning. Dragon Qing evil some helpless hook corner of the mouth, how can he not understand what idea she hid in the heart? It's not easy to say, but let him stay in it now. The dragon tilts the evil spirit of the sideway in her ear. That pair of black as ink stone shining eyes inside a flash. In that case, should it be over earlier? We have something important to do. Cloud Dance slightly pick eyebrows. Words seem to have some helplessness, but the eyes of that pair of cunning point are full of bloodthirsty light. It's up to the lady. Long Qingxia puts his head on the shoulder of Cloud Dance, and looks like a obedient little man. Shua, a long sword appeared in Yunwoo's hands with a cold light. In a flash, the sword was cut in the air was split, and a touch of purple fighting air hit a big tree in the wind. The man who had been hiding behind the tree felt a strong intention to kill. He didn't have time to think about anything. He dodged the attack. The purple air came from the tree, and the tree was cut off. The cut mark was as smooth as a mirror. Bang! With a loud noise, dust, quiet forest appeared a touch of agitation, dust suddenly in the gray air, more strange flutter. The man in the black robe glanced at the fallen tree, looking at the mark of the horizontal split, and a look of surprise appeared in his sharp eyes. Just a touch of fighting spirit can make such smooth marks. How high is the strength of this woman? Yunwoo looks at the man in black who is forced to appear. He has a bloody smile on the corner of his mouth, but his eyes are extremely cold. Sneaky, so afraid to see people? Yunwoo, you are a man in black. A sneer appears at the corner of your mouth. The man in black stares at Yunwoo. A pair of fierce eyes reveal a trace of vigilance. He can't see through her strength. It shows that her strength is above him. No wonder the master didn't say he had to fight her. That pair of black sharp eyes, as sharp as an eagle, the surprise in the depths of the eyes is still looming. I just passed by here and I saw you too. I wanted to leave when you left, but I was found. The man in black nodded slightly to Cloud Dance, looking very sincere. Oh, so it is. Yunwoo takes away the killing intention in her eyes, puts away the sword in her hand, looks back at the evil dragon behind her, but shows a strange smile. Under the black is like as two peas, the dragon's evil eyes appear a bit of the same color as her, and nodded at her. Looking at the pure smile raised in the corner of Yunwoo's mouth, and the strange smile in his eyes, there was a trace of helplessness in his evil eyes, and he shook his head in his heart. This woman, too black-hearted. Suddenly, Yunwoo suddenly turned back, and the pure smile on the corner of his mouth had become extremely dense. Do you think I'll believe it? A word falls, black dress person is tiny as Zheng. Without waiting for the reaction in her transformation, the elements of cloud dancing wind, like a flash of lightning, rushed in. The fast speed made the man in black catch nothing, but felt that a powerful force was getting closer and closer. Poof! When the force approached, the man in black was about to fight, and a mouthful of blood gushed out, and the smell of blood filled his nose. He looked at the cloud dance standing in front of him, and his fierce and painful eyes were full of surprise. When he wanted to make the force to open the distance between them, he found that he could not use any strength. Just that hit, Cloud Dance used 7 parts of force. The effect is to let him not faint, also can't escape. You! Just as the man in black was about to say something, there was a touch of bright red in his dark eyes. The whole pupil was full of blood, which was filled with strange red, as if to break through the eye explosion. How do you feel? Who is your master? Cloud Dance squatted down on the floor, looking at the man in black who fell on the ground crying, curling and twitching. A heartless and bloodthirsty smile passed by the corner of his mouth. Long Qingxia looks at the sneer of Cloud Dance's mouth, and the evil smile appears in his eyes. This is his woman, who has the same bloodthirsty nature as him. Only they can understand each other's thoughts and experience each other's pain, so who can be more suitable for them than the other? Some of the dark faces of the man in black were blue and veins were springing up. Blood vessels were clearly visible, as if they would burst in the next second. Ask the king of hell. Suddenly, the man in black suddenly jumped up in the air and drew out his sword from his waist. A long sword was full of black light, and 7 steps of fighting came to the Cloud Dance. There was a cold light in Yunwoo's eyes. She knew that there was a black flame sword on her head, but she didn't see it. She didn't mean to hide. Green level talent, 7th level warrior. This strength is not bad, but the person who can enter the inner magic feather forest of the college is absolutely impossible only by this strength, so she decided. There must be someone behind him, and that person is in the forest. Cloud Dance, the smile of the corner of the mouth congeals, but let a person look a little heartless creepy. Since the man didn't want to show up, she didn't mind helping him show up. Long Qingxia glared at the black flames around the flying sword, and a trace of meditation passed at the bottom of his eyes. When the long sword was about to pierce the Cloud Dance, the corner of the mouth of the man in black showed a proud and murderous cruelty, and his eyes were full of pride. Bang! With a dull sound, the earth gave out a dull roar, and the whole forest was shaken 3 times. The dust was flying and the leaves were flying. It seemed that even the air had condensed for a moment. After everything calms down, the purple figure still stands in the gray sky, with a smile on the corner of his mouth, looking at the dragon in the distance. She was surrounded by her own light, cold and pure, and there was a trace of warmth in her bloodthirsty eyes, because she was looking at him, and her strong sense of killing faded a lot in the moment when her eyes were opposite, and she recovered her former indifference. The man in black was lying on the ground, motionless. Around him, there was a pit as if the ground had sunk. The pit was 5 meters big, which was amazing. And the man in black nests in the middle of the pit, which is so small at this moment. The man in black's fingers moved, and his red eyes were shocked. He was a 7-level warrior, and he was defeated with only 1 blow. Seems to have no strength to climb. The strength of this woman really like the master said the same adverse? Who is your master? I don't want to ask again. Yunwoo walked down the pit. The mud floating in the pit stained her purple clothes, but could not dye her cold. The man in black raised his eyes and looked at the commanding cloud dance. He was shocked by her severe cold. This is like as 2 peas, the shiver all over though not cold, and the same breath of death. Master! The eyes of the man in black were so confused for a moment, and he looked at the cloud dance and called out unconsciously. Cloud dance suddenly Leng, the killing intention on the body suddenly subsides, that pair of cool eyes inside flit a trace of doubt. When did she get a valet? Cloud dance tiny narrow eyes, a pair of deep eyes glare at the person in black, eyes complex 100 turn, then a face cold way, your master is me? After hearing this, the man in black was slightly stunned, and his eyes of surprise and fear were staring at her for a moment. Then his eyebrows were lowered, and he glanced at the cloud dance in disgust, and hummed coldly, no. Yunwoo's face suddenly turned black. She kicked the man in black to the other end of the pit, and the dust suddenly flew in disorder again. She walked towards the man in black step by step, and looked at him coldly, what are you barking about? The man in black covered his chest with a breath, puffed out a mouthful of blood, dyed his black and penetrated into the soil. Looking at the cloud dance approaching him like death, I was afraid to take a step backward. Dragon Qingxia's mouth was raised, and his eyes were helpless. If he said yes, it was estimated that this woman would let him go. Now he said no, I guess I'll die. Long Qingxia will look at her, deep eyes a touch of meditation flash. This woman is to have a decent attendant. Kill if you want. The man in black looked at the cloud dance close at hand. His fierce eyes closed slightly as if he was ready to die. Yunwei is stunned. The way he died reminds her of Tulong. I don't know if he is trying to break through his own strength now, but she is still waiting for his strength to reach her expectation and then make friends with her. Finally, she wants to enter Tulong just like her own home. Thinking of the result, there was a light between her eyebrows. This result is very good. The man in black seemed to have been waiting for a century, and his heart trembled with fear before he died. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. But he didn't see Yunwoo start. He couldn't help opening his eyes again. Looking at Yunwoo's still bloodthirsty eyes, he roared angrily, what do you want? Cloud dance was pulled back by his roar, willow eyebrow a low, eyes swept a trace of puzzled. He's so hysterical roar why? Do you like animals? I want to kill you. The clouds are dancing, the corners of the mouth are sharp, the eyes are dark, the wind element reappears, the soil is flying, the remnant leaves are flying, and a whirlpool force is gradually formed. At the moment when the wind element surrounded the man in black, suddenly, there was a loud noise behind her. There was a huge force behind the loud noise, so she had to stop. She dodged into the whirlpool of the wind element and flew up in the air. Her body is in the element of wind, the green silk is scattered at will, the purple clothes are dancing, the indifferent eyes are as clean as ice, and the sickly white mask condenses her coldness, which makes her not lose half of her color because of that face. Long Qingxia looks at the cloud dancing in the air, and her eyes are burning hot, with a trace of aggression, a trace of possession, a trace of hegemony. For a moment, he didn't want anyone to see her. He just wanted her to live under his own wings. Cry for him because he laughs, weep for him because his heart is broken. Only for him. Suddenly, he looked at the figure. The corner of his mouth slightly outlined a helpless, lonely smile. She is a phoenix flying 9 days. She belongs to the whole sky, not just to one person one day. When she tramples the sky under her feet, she belongs to him alone. Yunwoo seems to feel the hot but lonely look behind him. He frowns slightly and looks back at the dragon. He looks evil and picks her eyebrows. He does not forget to throw a wink. Yunwoo looked at him as if nothing had happened. He was as flat as before. He didn't say anything. He just glared at him and drew back his eyes, but there was an imperceptible complexity in his eyes. Then she returned to her former indifference and looked at the place not far away where there was a loud noise. There was a huge force hidden in the loud noise. Although a moment later, there was still drowning in the state of dancing and flying. After a long time, the sight could be seen clearly. The maple leaves on the tree are still falling. It seems that they have been impacted by the loud noise just now. The residual maple leaves rotate back and forth in the air. Suddenly, Cloud Dance's eyes a careful look, fall of maple leaf seems to have become half. The cut marks are neat, without any defect. Before the loud sound, she did not find any abnormality in the forest, nor did she feel an unusual breath. All the discoveries came from the loud noise, and the power of darkness was only felt after the loud noise. Suddenly, there was a trace of surprise in those indifferent eyes. Were these maple leaves cut off by the power after the loud noise? Just a residual wave can be so adverse? The dragon's evil eyes narrowed and looked at the place where the sound was loud. A deep light passed from the bottom of his eyes. He was familiar with the smell of darkness and evil. Did you find anything? Dragon Qingxie walked forward a few steps, looking at the cloud dance in the wind element, calmly asked. Yunwoo takes back the elements of wind, looks at the dragon and looks at the distance. No, but the smell is different from that in the black fog just now. The breath just now is just suffocating, but this time it reveals the destruction of aggression and phagocytosis. Dragon Qing evil mouth a yang, nod, eyes inside the condensation of a touch of evil, look back to Cloud Dance way. Let's go. Cloud Dance nods. A trace of worry passes through the eyes. If this phagocytic power is completely distributed, here is their eternal destination. Before leaving, Yunwoo looked back at the location of the hidden space. Long Qingxie also glanced at the cloud and said, "Don't worry, it's safe there." Maybe Yunwoo didn't feel the breath there, but he did. In addition to the breath of Zhou Feiyu, there was the breath of Nanganji and Shangguan. The three of them together should be safer than the two of them. No, it should be said that Shangguan is safer with them than with them. Yunwoo once again glanced at the strange smile in his eyes, and his face suddenly turned black. This guy always had a hidden appearance, and his behavior and attitude were more and more unpredictable. They walked towards the loud noise, completely ignoring the dying man in black in the pit. After hearing the loud noise, the man in black has a light on his eyes. After seeing them leave, a gloomy and strange smile appears. Stepping on the dusty and messy maple leaves in the wind, they gradually approached the messy place. One in white swayed in the wind, like a fairy, but with a trace of evil. One is dressed in purple, just like 9 days, but with a trace of repulsive bloodthirsty. They are so similar in their manners, just like a couple of gods, with a cold, bloodthirsty and arrogant attitude. The cloud dances to a messy forest and looks at the tree trunk cut off by the sharp breath. There is a dense black fog all around. The green grass on the ground is also surrounded by the black air. There is a little shock in the eyes. Who is the one who makes this power? Can you tell who did it? Cloud Dance lifted Mao to see a dragon to pour evil nearby, tiny Siu eyebrow. Long Qingxie looked at the place that had been swept by the breath and turned black. His eyes were dark, but his mouth was smiling. I thought it was the ghost of the beast gate. Was it my wrong guess? Cloud Dance tiny frown. I also think is 10,000 beast door do. The smell is similar to that of Mo Bai, but now it's different. It's darker than that of Mo Bai or even Mo Yebing. This should be a kind of power possessed by the demons in their lineage, magic bite. Long Qingxia glanced at the degree of damage around him, put his head on Yunwu's shoulder and said happily, "Evil bite." Cloud Dance's eyes flit over a trace of doubt, lift eyes to look at the shoulder of Dragon Qing. Evil want to say what, just didn't say. At this time, the tornado seems to have some reaction, but it's just a little reaction. There's no information about magic bite. The records of magic bite should be on other fragments of the tornado. Well, if you're right, the son of the demons, magic heaven, should have been released. Long Qingxia nodded, with a smile on the corner of his mouth. Seeing that Yunwu didn't push him away, he took the opportunity to grab her waist and hold her in his arms, but there was an undercurrent in the bottom of his eyes. Could it be? Cloud Dance raises Mao to look at the top of the head dragon to poor evil, eyebrow tip a pick. Mo Bai's appearance can't be a coincidence, he must have some purpose, and what can make him go out must be to see big things. For example, devil. A pair of hands as if nothing had happened slide into her smooth back. Cloud Dance has been thinking about the magic day, the mind is not in that pair of hands swimming around. Dragon Qingxia's eyes are a trace of evil, and the corners of his mouth outline a perfect radiant. This little thing is really terrible when it's serious. No, there is no such possibility. If so, what are you going to do? Long Qingxia looks down at the person in his arms. The smile of his mouth is like a touch of sunshine, illuminating the dark forest. Cloud Dance micro frown, a cluster of flame burning in the eye bottom, meet the dragon's eyes, word by word, chop his hand first. Long Qingxia nodded, with an evil smile in the corner of his eyes. The action on his hand still didn't stop. He attached it to her ear and said, "It's too cheap for him to cut off his hand. It's better to kill him 10 times. Yunwu's face suddenly changed and he growled, "Dragon, take your hand away." This guy's playing dumb with her here. Dragon Qing evil mouth a young, extremely evil face line flexibility, black ink like crystal bright eyes is her sullen face. Originally you found it. He conceals the smile that the corner of the mouth expands ceaselessly, looking at her slightly angry eyes. The rascal's attachment is at her neck. Yunwu sighed deeply. Well, she compromised again. Well, she's still better than his rascal. Can you see what's going on? Yunwu's face darkened, and a trace of worry and indifference appeared in her eyes. Long Qingxia took back his restless hand, and he didn't forget to pinch her. He put away a ruffian look. Looking not far away, his eyes flashed by. It's time to come. Cloud Dance heard his words, body a stiff, looking at his evil eyes are looking at the front, and then turned in his arms, looking at the direction he looked at. A thin and delicate young man came into her eyes, which was the first impression of that young man. The boy's black hair is messy. Under the cover of messy hair, he has a gray face, delicate face. Wearing a ragged coarse cloth clothes, he looks weak and thin. Yunwu looks at the boy, and a trace of surprise passes through his eyes. The boy has a pair of clear eyes, extremely pure, not installed, but the depth of the eyes is like an endless dark abyss. She had never experienced such a strange feeling. It was so helpless, pure and innocent, but it made people feel so cold and dark. Is he the devil? Cloud Dance's suddenly surprised voice, looking back to see to dragon poor evil. Long Qingxia chumu a smile, mouth slightly a yang, raised her chin charm way. My woman is really smart. Cloud Dance a slap opened his hand, cold white he one eye. This guy is no longer than a little finger when he's serious. How could he have such pure eyes? Cloud Dance looks at the devil sky, like talking to himself, and like asking the dragon to pour evil. Long Qingxia glanced at the devil, his eyes narrowed, and his mouth showed a smile that was hard to guess. This is not his original nature, but his present nature. After spending so long in this Moyu forest, the demons have been purified. The cloud dances, the eyes pass a sneer. No wonder she always felt that his eyes were a little confused and helpless. It seemed that while purifying the demons, her mind and memory were baptized. At this time, the devil is lowering his head, looking at the underground with a confused face. Cloud Dance willow eyebrow a low, don't know what he is looking at there, looking so ecstatic. Suddenly, Yunwushan looked at the place where the devil looked, and caught a glimpse of a black figure. Looking at the familiar face, she was suddenly surprised. It's Lu Bai. At this time, Lu Bai fell into a pile of messy maple leaves, and the spots on the maple leaves were all bloodstains. His clothes were ragged, and there was a trace of blood on the corner of his mouth. A white and beautiful face was as white as a piece of paper. Long Qingxie naturally noticed him. Somehow, a sharp and deep feeling passed through his smiling eyes. Only Demon Tianjing looked at him for a moment, and occasionally raised his foot to kick him. He didn't have any reaction. There was a giggle in the corner of his mouth, and there was no expression in his gaunt face. Cloud Dance looks at Lu Bai, who can't stand on the ground, and her eyes are slightly narrowed. After the selection contest, he has been in the Moyu forest? Do you want to know what's going on? Long Qingxie looks at Meng Tian and Lu Bai, with a smile that even Cloud Dance can't see through. It's a mysterious smile as unpredictable as a deep pool, with too many chilling coldness in it. Long Qingxie let go of the Cloud Dance, said something in her ear, and walked calmly toward the Devil's Sky. How does it feel to kill? Long Qingxie stands opposite the Devil's Day, with a smile on his lips. Magic Day heard someone speak, dull confused eyes flashed for a while, and then slightly raised eyes to see the dragon. It's also a look of helplessness, confusion, and emptiness. Ferris looks at the dragon, tilts his head slightly, wrinkles his forehead, and then looks disappointed. His eyes drop and he looks at Lu Bai again. Devil, he's still alive. You didn't kill him. Did you miss it? Long Qingxie has been looking at him with a smile, and his tone is more sharp and ironic. In the eyes of outsiders, he is just talking to a person who is no different from a child, and is doomed not to get the result that he wants to provoke him. But he is not a child after all. Suddenly, a bloodthirsty rage appeared in the eyes of Demon Heaven. In the blink of an eye, the rage disappeared, as if it were just a moment's illusion. This touch of abnormality, Dragon Qing Evil See Abnormal Clear. And Cloud Dance, which is a long distance away from them, also finds the anger in his eyes. Looking at him for a moment to restore the confused and hazy look, a cold smile appeared in the corner of Cloud Dance's mouth, and the light in the eyes was gradually replaced by the cold. Oh! Long Qingxie's low voice put on a smile of disdain. Do you plan to go on like this all the time? Suddenly, the Devil's Sky fiercely raised his eyes and looked at the dragon. A pair of pure and confused eyes were dark black. The bloodthirsty anger in his eyes made people shudder. The next second, the anger disappeared, the dark black eyes returned to normal color, and a trace of pain appeared in his eyes. He curled up on the ground with his head in pain, his haggard face turned pale, and his mouth kept repeating, I'm not. Seeing his reaction, Long Qingxie seems very satisfied. The sneer at the corner of his mouth converges, and then he turns to Yunwu. His evil eyes look at Yunwu with enchantment. Then he blinks at her and suddenly gets goosebumps from Yunwu. Yunwu looks at his warm smile like spring breeze, with a trace of evil taste, plus a beautiful face. It must be said that it's really provocative. Suddenly, a gloomy breath suddenly came from behind the dragon. Little. Just when Long Qingxie looks back and the Cloud Dance doesn't shout out, the body of Long Qingxie is instantly hit by a touch of gloomy black air. The white figure was hit by a fatal blow in an instant, and the body hit the big trees one by one. Big trees were knocked into a row by his body. Suddenly, maple leaves were all over the sky, and the sound of impact was constantly ringing. In the hazy, the white figure seemed to have no consciousness, just like a dead object without feeling, which was played at will. Yunwu looks at the white figure like a discarded doll. Her heart is pulled fiercely, and the dull hum made by the collision with the trees is like a hammer beating her heart in her heart. Suffocate violently to the pain that cannot breathe. Suddenly, in a moment of strong wind, the purple shadow picked up the white figure and pulled him out in the irresistible dark atmosphere. Poof! Cloud Dance pulled out the dragon to pour evil moment, fiercely sprayed a mouthful of blood, because being engulfed by black breath, Her mouth corner is still twitching now. Long Qingxie, wake up. Cloud Dance does not care about his injury. Pull up the dragon on the ground to hold evil in his arms, tearing cry. Somehow, she felt a sense of weakness. The bottom of my heart is shaking. Dragon, wake up. Looking at Long Qingxie's white face, she can't help the pain with a low roar, and her hoarse voice cries powerlessly. A drop of tears, along her indifferent eyes across her cool face, dripping on his face. I'll count to 3. If you don't wake up, I'll kill him. Cloud Dance looked at motionless, even the breath is extremely weak. Dragon Qing evil low roar. Isn't he the one who loves to show off? Isn't she the most afraid of being hurt? What about now? She's going to fight a man who has no chance of winning. Should he wake up and stop her? A quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters he was still motionless. The Cloud dances the Mao light to flash, whisks the palm of the hand, want to lose own spirit power to return the dragon to poor evil. Girl, you must not forget that you are mutually exclusive at this time. Bai Lao's urgent thoughts stopped Yunwu's action. He felt that Yunwu was suffering from heartbreaking pain, and then he woke up in his deep sleep. What about that? She looks at the dragon to poor evil, the past calm completely disappears. This demon bite is the power of the real blood of the demon clan thousands of years ago. He would have been killed immediately if he was hit by a fatal blow, but I also felt the sound of breathing on him. There should be no danger to his life. The most urgent thing is to leave here quickly, or you will be killed too. Bai Lao's words, Yunwu only heard one sentence, should not be life-threatening. Suddenly, she put the dragon on the ground, and the pain and fear in her eyes gradually faded away. The bloodthirsty and cold purple eyes slowly emerged, and the purple eyes were still full of blood-red light. Just as she was about to get up and leave, her hand was suddenly caught by a cold hand. Although the hand didn't use much strength to hold her, she suddenly stopped, and a trace of joy appeared in her purple eyes. In an instant, she looked back at the dragon. Little thing, you dare to go to hell. Believe it or not, I ate you. Long Qingxie's pale mouth outlines a pale smile and is looking at the Cloud dance for a moment. He felt the cool object on his cheek. His heart ached. He made her cry and worried her. Cloud dance grins, looking at his still ruffian rascal smile, and finally realized the feeling that the heart is dead and can come back to life. She helped him up and leaned on her. The blood red in her purple eyes had disappeared. At this time, the Devil's Day returned to its confused appearance. How do you feel? Cloud Dance worried, looking at him. Just know, originally she will be so fragile. Long Qingxie stroked her cheek and looked at a tear mark on her cheek. There was a trace of gloom in her eyes. She gave a gloomy glance at the devil's sky in the distance. Chest pain, is not hurt the heart? Long Qingxie arched her arms, some wronged, some innocent fingers to her chest. Cloud Dance see him to her arms arch, very cooperate to pull him hard, pull him into his arms, and then untie his skirt, check his chest. Her cool fingers stroked her chest back and forth, and her body, which was still chilly, was now hot. That touch is the collision between icebergs and volcanoes, the intersection of the Yangtze River and the Yellow River, and the incarceration that people cannot escape. Here? Or here? Cloud Dance, according to his chest, tentatively asked, unaware of the change of the people in his arms. Cold fingertips across his hot chest, that touch of crisp numbness let him almost lost feeling, let him can't help but take a breath. This shocked Cloud Dance quickly took back his hand, thought it was stabbing him. Does it hurt? She didn't know what to ask. It hurts. He answered sincerely. Where does it hurt? She touched his chest again. The dragon tilts evil to support the body. The evil Mao sun is suffused with smile idea. Attach in her ear to whisper, shameless. Cloud Dance face embarrassed, a touch of scarlet surface. A push him on the ground, strength is extremely gentle. She couldn't understand why every time he dug a hole, she could jump one by one. Finally, only by the cool and eat tofu share. Dragon Qing evil mouth a yang, stand up, pale mouth corner already restored some blood color, evil eyes pass a trace of gloomy. How can you be okay? There was a doubt in Yunwu's eyes. I don't understand why he recovered so fast. Didn't Bai Lao say it was a fatal blow? Because I know you are not willing to do something for my husband. Dragon Qing evil ruffian a smile, the corner of the mouth with a bright smile, only to her. Looking at her strange purple eyes, Long Qingxia hugs her in his arms and holds her tightly. This woman is always so desperate that she moves him too much. The only thing he can do is to cherish her with all his love and life. There is no way out. Leave the rest to me. Dragon Qing evil attached to her ear, ambiguous as silk said. In the magic day that hit, he has been watching the clouds, people's reaction and speaking speed is different, the fastest is the reaction. He saw a trace of panic and surprise in her reaction before she could export it. At that moment, he created the space boundary defense. At the same moment, the space boundary was destroyed and he was beaten away. But fortunately, most of the power was borne by the space barrier, he just suffered a little internal injury. Because of the internal injury, he can't resist the aftereffect of the evil bite, so he can only let the force push and strike, and make the space boundary again while the internal breathing is a little better. The second border was forced, and he couldn't resist it anymore. Who knows that this little thing actually ignored the aftershocks and fished him out at the risk of his life, otherwise he would not die, and he would have to go through a pain of debonding. Cloud Dance raises Pupil Mao in his arms. Pupil Mao is suffused with a touch of bloodthirsty chili. You are not allowed to interfere, I come by myself. Dragon Qing evil sword eyebrow a low, double eyes flit a silk deep. I know. Cloud Dance comes out of his arms and interrupts his words. The purple pupil is full of cunning light. Only the ghost can meet with him. There is a saying that it's called the war of subduing people without fighting. Long Qingxia looked at her with a smile, and suddenly leaned on a tree in pain. Ouch, chest pain madam, the next thing is for you. The cloud dances to wheeze a smile. The corner of the mouth outlines a smile that is more shining than the star. Purple figure messy in the wind, the maple leaf seems to do a foil, that touch of cold figure, so far away. Cloud Dance walks and looks at magic sky, and her eyes never leave him. He seems to have completely split into two people, one is addicted to the dark, the other is pure and lonely. Looking at the magic sky, Cloud Dance thought of the old man's words again. The descendants of the demons are his disciples. They fell in love with her daughter when they were practicing in the college. Although we don't know why the college left him, it's undeniable that the cultivation of the demons in the college is very fruitful. The pure aura of the college has helped him control his demons. If it wasn't for the college to prevent them from falling in love, why should they escape into the forest? The old man's daughter would not die, and the devil would not be inspired to devour the dark forces that have been imprisoned in the forest. There will not be the curse and the gap that will be destroyed one day. But she was always curious, why did his daughter die? Cloud Dance came to the devil. The cold in her eyes was obvious, but the devil didn't feel confused. Vaguely, she felt an invisible pain around him. Do you remember that woman? Is it still heartache? Cloud Dance mouth corner outline of sneer a bit deeper. Mao Guang seemed to have 4 or 5 glances at Lu Bai. He can also feel his breathing sound, should not be life-threatening. Remember what she told you? She said she wants you to overcome the demons in your heart and believe that you will succeed. Cloud Dance looks at the magic sky and says word by word. Looking at the devil day, hearing what she said, he was slightly stunned. There was a change in his confused and empty eyes. It seemed that the violent oppression that could appear at any time had subsided a lot at the moment. Cloud Dance looked at his change, the corners of his mouth involuntarily hook up, indifferent eyes across a trace of frost-filled smile. She bet right. She won this move, which means that she will win this game. But what about you? It's not only controlled, but also reinvigorated the demons that have been controlled. She told me that she was heartbroken magic day once again. A Zheng, slowly raised eyes looking at the clouds. June eyes is no longer floating misty empty, but a kind of unclear complex. She is not only controlled, but also used by others. She will die in her own eyes if she breaks through the barrier with her demonic nature at the bottom of her heart. Cloud Dance's eyes are sharp, every word is pearl, every word and every sentence is passed into the ears of Magic Heaven, which gives him a shock. Do you know her? The hoarse and laborious voice came from his throat. It seemed that he didn't speak for a long time. What he said was not very standard and clear, but Yunwoo understood it. At this time, the devil is not a murderous and violent man, nor is he pure and ethereal, but a normal man. The cloud dances, the corner of the mouth is raised, the eye inside flits over a silk satirical smile. 3 personalities? No, but I can understand what she thinks. Cloud Dance looks at Demon Sky. He is normal at the moment, but his slightly decadent face is dirty, but it is not difficult to see that he is an extremely handsome young man. They forced her to death. In a word, he said the reason why he was so evil. His favorite woman was forced to death by his master and her own father. Who can bear the pain? Thinking of her, she couldn't help looking back and looking at her dragon with a smile on her face. If one day, what will she do when he's gone? She didn't know what she would do, but just looking at him in a daze, she had never had the intention to kill in her heart, just like a monster with no emotion and pain. There was only one word in her heart: kill. Kill all those who want to hurt him, and all those who ridicule him. She seems to be able to feel the feelings of Magic Day at that time. The most loved one died in his arms. In that moment, he hated. Hate into anger, anger to kill, kill together. The magic is stimulated. Even if you kill everyone, she won't come back, will she? Why don't we get out of her shadow and live again? Cloud Dance glares at the magic sky, and the coldness of the corner of the eye has gone. Devil Day complex Mao sun inside flit over a wishful of vision, then the corner of the mouth a pull, peep out a put on seem to have some helpless miserably smile, late. Who set you free? Suddenly, Long Qingxia didn't know when he came to Yunwoo's side, and his black eyes stared at the magic sky. Yunwoo looks back at him and smiles at him. Long Qingxia grabbed her chin and said, "I'm smiling at you." Cloud Dance face brush of a change, a palm split, Dragon Qing evil moment stop hand, the air is filled with Cloud Dance anger. Magic Day looking at the action between the two, the corners of his mouth show a smile. That smile is like the haze for a long time. The sky suddenly cleared up in general, dazzling or with a trace of melancholy. Who let you out? Dragon Qing Xie glanced at the devil sky, and there was a trace of convergence in his eyes. He asked again. Magic Day slightly drooping eyes, messy black hair covered most of his face, can't see what he looks like, just vaguely feel the indifference of his body. You know it's going to be dangerous. It seems that his hoarse voice can hardly be heard. He has been imprisoned for so many years, and his voice has rusted away year after year. Cloud Dance slightly raised eyes to glance at a dragon to pour evil. The meaning in that eyes dragon to pour evil understand. Did you hurt him? Long Qingxia glanced at Lu Bai lying in the residual leaves and continued to ask. Devil Day saw Lu Bai one eye, dim Mao Sun pondered for a long time, just shake head, don't know. Suddenly, there was a movement in Lu Bai on the ground. Her finger with distinct knuckles moved slightly, and her pretty white face had a painful expression. Suddenly, Magic Day quickly swept him one eye, a fierce palm wind floated over his neck. Lu Bai just woke up, fell into a coma again. Cloud Dance indifference of Mao Sun tiny as sink, some don't understand of looking at the evil sky. Suddenly, the dark forces in the forest came like a surging river, with leaves flying, branches swaying and dust flying. In the next moment, the magic sky instantly pulled up the clouds and disappeared in the same place. Long Qingxia looked at the black shadow of the evil sky. His eyes were scarlet and his mouth was cold. A white shadow passed by and quickly caught up with the black shadow. In the dark, magic sky gallops past with the Cloud Dance. The wind is roaring, whistling in the ear, and the cheek is biting by the wind. Cloud Dance knows how fast magic sky is at this time. Lift eyes to see under the body, trees hazy into a shadow, only to see a red and a green shadow. Suddenly, in the next moment, the green wind came, just like a dragon, wrapping them in an instant. Magic Day confused eyes slightly alang, instantly let go of the clouds, flying to the other side. Finally, the sharp air flow did not continue. The hazy scene in front of her eyes returned to normal, and she finally regained her freedom and felt a sense of security when touching the earth. Suddenly, the whirlpool of wind element became bigger and bigger. It seemed that I saw a pair of bloodthirsty and cold purple eyes in the whirlpool, emitting the cold purple light that belonged to her. "I won't hurt you. Take that thing away." The evil sky is looking at the wind element on Cloud Dance's body. A pair of empty eyes have already restored the normal facial expression at the moment. The cloud dancing green silk in the green revolving nest is fluttering, and the corner of the mouth is cold. "Do you want to withdraw? Isn't that a shame for me?" The devil day hears, slightly a zheng, in the double pupil peeps out a touch of painful color, as if recalled a long time ago matter. They had a fight when they first met a long time ago, and she said the same thing to him. "Don't I have no face?" Suddenly, a touch of black fighting spirit appeared in Devil's hand. It was the darkness that belonged to the heir of the demon family. The fighting spirit was surrounded by silver light. There was an undercurrent at the bottom of Yunwoo's eyes, and the dark fighting spirit was silvery at the same time. The purple fighting spirit in the hands of the cloud dance quietly emerged to meet the black fighting spirit. They collided in an instant, making a huge bang from thousands of miles away, and the aftershocks seemed to spread to the inner college. The elder and several elders looked at each other, and the sharp eyes were filled with surprise. Did they fight? All of a sudden, the air around them speeded up, and the wind became extremely sharp. The remnant leaves were cut, and the trunks around them were scratched with marks of blade length. The cloud dance's purple pupil Mao inside flits over a silk surprised. She used the purple fighting spirit of full strength unexpectedly by his dark fighting spirit engulfed. If he didn't take back the dark fighting spirit, then "I won't hurt you." Magic Day looking at the clouds, clear eyes seem to be able to see the depth. The depth is a look of trust. Suddenly, the wind element disappeared, and the clouds fluttered in front of the devil. It's not that she really believes him, it's because she can't beat him. Since he said that he would not hurt her, what is she doing? Is she really stupid? "What did you bring me for?" There is a trace of indifference in the clouds. "I just want to finish one thing, and then it doesn't matter." The evil sky raised eyes to see one-eye dim sky. The double eyes inside a put on complicated facial expression to flow through. Her soul is in this forest. The forest is full of her breath. She must not like such a ghost forest. And in front of this woman has the same cold and gorgeous determination as her, has the same disgust that does not regard him as a monster. This time he's going to save her. Just think of her, as if she's still alive. Suddenly, the evil sky's eyes rose, a pair of clear eyes now completely turned into black, filled with a strange smell. He opened his pale lips and looked at the sky. For a moment, Yunwoo seemed to feel a strong suction, which came from the magic sky. Yunwoo looks at Mengtian. His eyes are filled with surprise. Does he want to swallow all the dark breath in the forest? In a moment, the color of the forest suddenly changed, and it seemed to condense into a huge vortex. The dark air floating in the sky suddenly became extremely ferocious, just like a fierce ghost, roaring and roaring. Those dark breath seems to be very unwilling to be swallowed by him, just like the resistance of having a soul. All the dark breath in the whole forest is sucked, and the resistance is useless. In the hazy, cloud dance seems to see a white light. Just after Long Qingxie came all the way, looking at the purple figure that had not been hurt in the distance, the nervous face and the restless heart finally relaxed slightly. Suddenly, the devil seems to find the dragon's evil figure, speeding up the speed of phagocytosis. In the next second, the sky suddenly a bright, used to see the dark sky, white light warm pour down, actually shining eyes. Cloud dance a hand block dazzling ray of light, slightly recover to come over, then vigilantly look to the devil's sky. Just when his eyes locked the position of Magic Heaven had already looked at her in the place of one step. At the moment, the white figure of Dragon Qingxie is fierce like thunder and lightning, and the place that he often tilts is destroyed without any vitality. He's angry. completely enraged. Yunwoo feels it. Just at the moment when Yunwoo wanted to move, he was suddenly controlled by the devil. You! As soon as Yunwoo opened her mouth, a strange dark suddenly began to invade her body from the devil heaven. What's that? Cloud Dance frowns, want to struggle, but found that the whole body cannot move. Devil's dark eyes were full of black flames, and his body was surrounded by dangerous dark flames, as if to burn him. He looked at the Cloud Dance for a moment, with a trace of pain in his eyes, and his face turned pale without a trace of blood. Cloud Dance thinks that she is wrong, so under the fierce dark breath, his eyes are still clear, not confused and empty, only clear and pure. I sealed it up. It won't hurt you. Don't be caught by bad people. I will protect you forever. When half in a coma, Yunwoo seems to hear this sentence from the devil, and then he feels a figure with a cold and dangerous breath, holding himself up in the air. Smelling the familiar smell, Yunwoo's mouth was pale and slightly raised, and then he didn't know what happened. Yunwoo's eyes moved, and slowly opened his eyes. A pure light came into his eyes. The whole forest had recovered its original color, pure and blue. Suddenly, her eyes tight, suddenly sat up from the ground, looked around. When she saw the dragon holding her evil, she was relieved, the corner of her mouth slightly hook and nest into his arms. It's good that he's okay. Suddenly, Yunwoo felt the hand around his waist, moved slightly, and looked up at the evil eyes. Where's the devil? Cloud Dance can feel that Dragon Qingxie is not hurt, but the devil is gone, which makes her indifferent eyes have a trace of doubt. Defeated by my husband. Dragon Qing evil sword eyebrow a yang, a face proud pet drown of kiss her forehead. Cloud Dance micro frown, a face of doubt piao he, eyes full of don't believe. The power of magic bite of magic heaven is beyond imagination. If it breaks out completely, the whole mainland of China will tremble. Cloud Dance suddenly wanted to understand, a trace of relief passed in her eyes. She seemed to understand why the elders didn't agree with them. One lives in the dark, one lives in the light. Destined to be together is a fight between darkness and light. It is really a catastrophe. Cloud Dance raises Mao a face, a door of appearance, looking at the dragon to pour evil, modestly ask away, can you ask how to defeat? Dragon Qing evil mouth a yang, show a helpless smile, this temporarily confidential, let for husband in your heart to leave some mystery. White eyes, still mysterious. Isn't he mysterious enough? However, she did not continue to ask, because she saw a trace of worry and remorse flashed at the bottom of Long Qingxie's eyes. They are tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.